If you've ever woken up and thought, gee, this is probably going to be a busy week, and then go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Tell you what, the market's just got no chill. It can't even wait until we start the show or open the market before we get the big market moving news. So there's so much stuff going on. I've got something caught in my eye. How about that? It is Monday. It is going to be March 23rd. We've got a lot going on over the weekend. And then again here this morning that's causing the market to trade all over the place. I'm going to break down both sides here for you and get you ready for everything. We've got some news to go over. We've got movers to go over, obviously. And we are kicking off what looks like is going to be a very volatile week. I hope that you all got rest over the weekend, and hopefully those of you that are playing are still in contention in your bracket. I know that's been getting crazy. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Monday edition for March 23rd, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Tell you what, I hope that you all got rest over the weekend. That's for sure. I know I did, and thankfully I did, because Monday has started off with a bang, if you will. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Peter is first again. Peter, I'm sorry about your UCLA Bruins, but I had UConn in that game, so it actually helped my bracket, but I'm sorry for you, my man. Hopefully you're still in contention. Billy, good morning. Great to see you. Welcome back. Our resident chat scanner is, I think, Billy's nickname now. We appreciate you. Welcome back. Good morning. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Zach, good morning to the Benzi gang. How will the gang play this breaking news? That's a good question. I think that there's going to be multiple things to look at here today. My big piece of advice right off the bat here: do not get too excited too early. Probably a good day to let some things settle out. If you have a particular angle, definitely want to discuss that here. But we're going to cover all of this, Zach. We're going to cover all of this here. Dave, good morning. Welcome back. Dave says the market looks strong. Well, I guess that depends on when you woke up, because when I woke up, the market did not look strong. And then we got that Truth Social post. We're going to cover all of that. EKS, it's great to see you as always. Oil taking a hit and bouncing a little bit. Looks like 84 and change was the low print. We're back above 92 already, expecting some volatility in the oil sector as well. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Empyrean, good morning. It's great to see you here. Erased my gains with that tweet. Yeah, it's hard to be short, right? Hard to be short this market. That's one of the things that we've been saying here. Producer, good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Welcome back. Jim, good to see you as always. Brian, welcome back. Good to see you too. Tom, good morning. All the Benzinga brigade is ready to fall out and take on the market. We are ready to take on the market with whatever hand we're dealt every single day, Tom. And today is no different. Good to see you this morning. Corey, good to see you as always. Welcome back and good morning. Wiss, good morning. Welcome back. Wiss, we got the preview of golf weather here in Chicago, but nothing's open yet. So it was more just a tease than anything else. Hope that you're able to get out there. I am chomping at the bit, bro. Literally chomping at the bit at this point. Azrar, good morning. Welcome back. Marionette, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Big Hurt, good morning. He's already trading here. Love it. Big Hurt. You grow one of our big movers, which I'm sure we're going to take a look at in the mover section. Cad Monkey, good morning. Astro Kev, good morning. Welcome back. Tyler, good morning. Graph, good morning. Just passing through, good morning. Dorcas, it's good to see you as always, brother. Welcome back. Seahorse Trading, good morning. Welcome back. Pot G, good morning. Good afternoon to you. Hopefully all is well in your neck of the woods. The Noob, great to see you again. How was the Chipotle this weekend? Hopefully it was good. Welcome back. Austin, good to see you as always. Jay Harris, good to see you as always. G-Cord, welcome back. Ed, welcome back. Cam, welcome back. Boy, we got the whole crew here this morning. Big Bees, welcome back. Good to see you. Buenos Monday. Jamaican, I love it. Lost Penny, good morning. Who else am I missing here? I think I got everybody. Matthew, good morning. And Unpopular Truth, good morning. We're gonna make that popular. That's my goal here. Cameron, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, wild ride for the futures ahead of Monday's open. Futures were actually lower here in the early morning prior to the Trump Truth Social post about delayed escalation of the conflict with Iran. Currently, S&P futures sitting positive by 1.24%. Dow is up by 1.34%, and the NASDAQ up by 1.25%. Again, this is all in flux and likely to move quite a bit throughout the course of the day here today. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session, then we'll dive into what's going on here today. Energy and financial stocks bucked the overall market trend, closing the session higher, while utilities, real estate, and information technology stocks recorded the biggest losses on Friday. President Trump had issued a 48-hour ultimatum for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, warning that the U.S. would obliterate the Iranian power plants if they failed to comply by 7:44 p.m. Eastern Time today, Monday, March 23rd. Highlighting this ultimatum, Ed Yardeni said, "So apocalypse now might or might not happen at 7:44 Eastern on Monday." Now, between the time when this story was written and right now when we are on here together, there has been another post by Trump via his Truth Social account, and he is saying that I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against the Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. So again, everything moving around here quite a bit. We also, by the way, have and I'll just show you the tweet here. The Iranian media has already said that there was no direct or indirect contact with Trump, and claims he withdrew after threatening to attack the East Asia facilities. So we are just at the beginning of this. The news is absolutely still in flux right now. So that kind of leads us to what the market is doing here. That leads us to the big changes that we're seeing in Bitcoin, the S&P, and everything else. But as outlined there by the post, there's a number of things going on here, and it is going to continue to remain volatile. We'll dive into that a little bit more. This is where we stand about 22 minutes prior to the open, or excuse me, an hour and 22 minutes prior to the open here. Despite this ultimatum, tensions escalated further on Monday as Iran threatened to target U.S. and allied energy and IT infrastructure. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond was yielding 4.41%. That was prior to the Truth Social tweet, so that is drastically different now as well. The 2-year bond was at 3.97. Both of those have come in substantially. Again, we'll see where they end up settling here. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections now show that the market is pricing in an 85.5% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves current interest rates unchanged in its April meeting. It's still very early since the last meeting. That started at 92%, went to 85%. Too early to draw any more long-term conclusions given with everything else that's going on right now. Now, we do have several stocks in focus here for you today that I want to cover before we dive into some of the ever-changing news. The first one here is going to be United Airlines Holdings, and the ticker on this one is UAL. UAL fell 1.95% in the pre-market on Monday after it announced plans to reduce scheduled capacity by about 5% in the second and third quarters. That stock down a little bit in the pre-market. The next stock on our list is going to be ST Microelectronics. The ticker on this one is STM. It declined 2.59%, even as it announced the start of volume production in its first deliveries of the STM32 microcontrollers fully manufactured in China through a localized China for China supply chain. The next stock in our list is a show favorite. This is Nebius Group, and the ticker on this one is NBIS. It dropped 3.32% as the AI infrastructure company announced the closing of a private offering of convertible senior notes totaling approximately $4.3 billion in gross proceeds to fund data center expansion and GPU procurement. The next stock on our list is Catalyr AS. The ticker is CDLR, and it slid 2.51% despite its service platform Nexra securing a firm contract for 2026 operations and a maintenance campaign at 2 offshore wind farms in Taiwan using the vessel Windmaker. The last stock on our list is going to be SSR Mining and Newmont Corporation. The ticker on this is SSRM, which slipped 6.22%, and Newmont Mining, ticker NEM, which plunged 6.12%, along with other gold miners and producers as the spot price for the precious metals descended into a bear market. Got more news on that for you as well. Looking at GLD here in the pre-market, it printed a low of 376.5 before bouncing with the Trump Truth Social post. Looks like it bounced from 376 up to 409 and is currently sitting at about 401 here today. All right, now let's see what all of this stuff is doing here for the chart. Remember, when we left off last week, we had talked about the 200-day moving average being broken to the downside, and the question was a good one. Where is the next spot where this finds some support? Initially, I had said that the 628-ish level, so about right where I have my cursor, this represents a 10% pullback from the all-time high. Additionally, if I actually go to a 4-hour chart, one of the discussions recently that we were having is that the SPY really seemed like it was in a broadening descending wedge here. If you look at the 4-hour chart, that's what the top trend line and the bottom trend line is here. Worth noting that it looks like with this move, and again, it's still early in all of this, we're popping back above that trend line. So we'll see if we get any type of support by that. The other thing to keep in mind, if we do trade up here today, we are trading back towards the 200-day moving average. So we've actually had 2 closes beneath the 200-day moving average. That makes today fairly important. As a general rule of thumb, 3 closes above or below one of these moving averages generally turns it from previously support to resistance or previously resistance to support. This has absolutely acted as resistance since we've broke through it. So if the market continues to trade higher here today, I would definitely expect some resistance at that 660.5. A lot depends on where the candle closes here today. And frankly, here at 8:13 in the morning Eastern time, too early to do that. I will say that just as kind of a gut feeling, now that we've had this big pop here in the pre-market, if the market continues to fall here today and it ends up closing red, I actually suspect that that would bode pretty poorly for tomorrow. If we pull everything back here and close red, I think it's a fairly safe bet that we might try some more lows here tomorrow. Now, looking at the chart, this pop back also took us above the support area that we had carved out in November. So again, we want to see if where we close with reference to some of these levels. Otherwise, I am thinking that this 635 area where we've made a previous double bottom back in about the summer of 2025, this might also this might also be a support level. One more thing, as if you didn't have enough things to track here today, if we do reverse, I would expect the bottom of Friday's candle, the low that I have here is going to be 644.72. So let's call it 645. That too should also act as support. How strong will that support be? Yet to be seen. But these are some of the levels here we're looking at on SPY. Now, let's get to some insights from analysts. As a reminder, given some of the big news that we've got here today, some of these insights might be a little bit stale, but it's worth noting where the analysts were prior to all of this. That way we can measure how it's changed and who might be on the other side here. Mohamed El-Arian's latest analysis signals a grim shift for the U.S. economy, moving from relative market complacency to concerns over, quote, long-term structural damage. As the U.S., Israel, and Iran conflict escalates, El-Arian notes that the narrative has moved beyond mere disruption. He highlights that the destruction of energy infrastructure has reignited inflation fears, creating a dash to cash that has left investors with few places to hide. And indeed, this is kind of the big takeaway from the recent move down. We highlighted last week gold was still moving down along with the regular market, and it sure felt like there was nowhere to hide. Regular stocks, gold stocks, Bitcoin, all of them seemed to move down. Really, the only thing, and our group had been on it, shout out to our group here, really the only thing that had been marketably appreciating was oil. And even that now kind of thrown into a tizzy given the recent headlines here. Regarding the stock market, El-Arian points to a deepening correlation between rising energy costs and equity losses. With the S&P 500 and NASDAQ facing consistent weekly declines, he observes that the economic fallout is widening into supply chain and financial contagion. Perhaps the most striking in his focus was on the Federal Reserve. Amidst sticky inflation data, El-Arian notes that traders are now pricing in 2026 rate hikes, end quote, a hawkish shift from previous cut expectations. And indeed, the dot plot that we got from the recent meeting here shows that the Fed members are still planning on cutting and not hiking. If that changes, you're going to see a significant reprice here in the market. He warns of potential stagflationary signals ahead, suggesting that the greatest threat to global energy in history will continue to pressure both the central bank policy and market valuations. For El-Arian, the path forward depends entirely on whether the war trajectory moves towards de-escalation or a broader regional spillover. Now, we're getting some headlines here today, but I want to advise caution here. Let's see how this shakes out. I just shared with you what Trump said, and I just shared to you what Iranian state TV said. Remember, at the beginning, it's very, very clear that what folks want here, or what the U.S. and Israel want here, is a regime change. And while there's going to be a whole bunch of talk about taco this and taco that, the reality here is that there might be some work with the new incoming regime coming in. That is to say, the Iran state media might be kind of on their way out, depending on who's controlling that. I don't know which way this is going to go. I don't have any bets placed for this. I'm going to respond to what we see here today. But just keep in mind, all of this stuff here is changing. You're going to have loud people on one side and loud people on the other side, and that is going to make the volatility a little bit more crazy until we get some things that are fully concrete. I don't think we have that right now, personally. Just looking ahead, let me go back down here. Just looking ahead at some economic data that we're expecting here today. On Monday, today, we are expecting Fed President Austin Goolsbee to make a TV appearance, followed by Federal Reserve Governor Stephen Miran. The TV appearance is at 8:30, so that should be happening here in about 12 minutes. Stephen Miran is at 8:45. We also get January's delayed construction spending report, which will be released at 10. On Tuesday, the revised fourth quarter U.S. productivity figures will be out by 8:30. March's S&P Flash U.S. Services Manufacturing PMI will be out by 9:45. And Federal Reserve Governor Michael Barr is scheduled to speak at 6:30 Eastern. On Wednesday, we get February's import price index, and the import price index minus fuel will be released at 8:30 in the morning Eastern time. Federal Reserve Governor Miran will speak later in the afternoon at 4:10 Eastern. And on Thursday, we get initial jobless claims for the week ending March 21st. That'll be out by 8:30 in the morning. We have a series of Fed speakers scheduled for the evening, with Governor Lisa Cook at 4, Governor Stephen Miran at 6:30, and Vice Chair Philip Jefferson at 7. We have Governor Michael Barr at 7:10. And on Friday, the final March consumer sentiment reading will be released by 10. All right. Another piece of news, as if the news was not crazy enough, I just very briefly want to cover this because we were talking about airline stocks recently for the oil and everything else. But more news here. Air Canada plane hits a ground vehicle at LaGuardia. The airport is going to be shut down until this afternoon. A CRJ 900 aircraft operated by Air Canada flying in from Canada's Montreal struck an on-ground vehicle at New York's LaGuardia Airport on Sunday while landing, leading to the airport's closure, according to flight radar. The aircraft struck an on-ground vehicle, at 24 miles per hour. If anyone wants this particular news story, here it is. There's a video in there. Unverified footage of the aircraft showed its nose tilted upward. The airport's website showed that the arriving airplanes had been rerouted to other airports. And while the Federal Aviation Administration shared a notice to airmen saying that the airport is shut till 6 p.m. GMT. According to a report by CNBC on Sunday, the collision has left 4 people injured, while the New York Police Department confirmed that the collision took place between the aircraft and the Port Authority New York vehicle. The pilot and co-pilot have sustained injuries. There were over 80 people on board, including the crew. So this comes at a really tough time for air travel and airplane stocks. This is just one more thing. Obviously, we hope that everyone involved in this ends up being okay. But that is news as of early this morning. Now, I also, I'm sure we're going to get back here to the broader market. Really, just another quick check here. S&P did pull back off of its impulse high. Looks like the S&P futures kind of turned around right about 66.50. We're currently at 66.72, up 1.72%. Here on the SPY. I'll keep updating you, but I do have some other news that I want to go through. Next one here is again a piece of news about something that we have been discussing over the last couple of weeks. This involves the stock Amazon, ticker AMZN, and the new movie Project Hail Mary, which we've discussed at great length here. Amazon is sharpening its entertainment strategy by preparing theatrical success with higher monetization of its streaming platform. Amazon has recorded its first major theatrical hit a decade after entering the movie business, signaling progress in its ever-evolving film strategy. Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling, debuted with about 80.5 million in the US and Canada and another 60.4 million internationally, marking Amazon's biggest opening and the strongest debut for a non-franchise Hollywood film since 2023. That report is from the Wall Street Journal as of yesterday. Amazon has shifted its approach over time from focusing on independent films to releasing bigger budget titles online before adopting a more traditional theatrical model after acquiring MGM in 2022. The company now releases around 15 films annually in theaters, combining box office revenue with streaming value for Prime Video. The studio-backed Project Hail Mary is a major investment with a production budget of about $200 million and secured rights to project early due to strong industry demand for Andy Weir's work. Amazon is also raising the price of its ad-free Prime Video option and rebranding it Prime Video Ultra. Starting April 10th, the ad-free add-on will cost $4.99 per month. That's up from $2.99 per month, and will include features such as streaming on up to 5 devices, 4K support, and up to 100 downloads. The move comes as Prime Video's audience grows and follows broader industry trends, with other major streaming platforms also increasing its subscription prices. Amazon's price hike comes amid similar movies by rivals with Netflix, Paramount Skydance, and Walt Disney. Disney Plus has been increasing subscription prices in recent months as streaming industry pushes for higher revenue. Now, as far as Amazon goes, let's actually start with the chart. Then I'll come back to the technical stats that we have here. Here's what Amazon's chart looks like. And this, too, I guess we kind of look at this as we look at tech. Amazon's price here, we've basically been kind of jostling around the 500-day moving average. This is where we traded down to in last year in April, right around Liberation Day. We actually quickly recaptured it and then back tested it before we made our another run. Now we're kind of doing that again here. And furthermore, we also tested the longer term trend line that we have originating back in June of 2023. So you can make the case, at least from looking at the chart here, that perhaps Amazon has made another near-term bottom, which on a larger picture is a higher low. We are kind of looking at a gap above, so we'll see if Amazon can continue to move higher off this. It is up 1.33% here in the pre-market. Obviously, this is moving with the rest of the market, given the news headlines that we've got out here today. But I just wanted to kind of set the stage here for Amazon. We've really, if the purple shaded area that I have in here, this has really been a sideways area since middle of last year. And although we fell out of it, it sure looks like we're going to try and recapture that here today. We've made several tests at doing so. So I would immediately look at this 212 to 213 area as an area of resistance. And if we can get back above that, then we've got some other moving averages to kind of keep track of. Recently, however, Amazon did put in a death cross. And actually, the day that I have this is Tuesday, March 10th. So we are only 13 days removed from that death cross. Also possible that this stock continues to roll over and retest this trend line that we've had here. So I'm interested. I know the group trades Amazon quite a bit. I'd like to hear what the thoughts are for a potential trade. Now, looking at some of the technical analysis here, RSI in the 30 to 50 range with bullish MACD indicates the momentum is leaning bullish. So perhaps if we can hold some of these lows, maybe we can attempt the gap fill to the upside there. This article lists 220.5 as key resistance and 202.50 as some key support. I'd also throw 200 in there for the round number. Really quickly, Needham has a buy rating. They went to 265. That happened on March 17th. Wells Fargo's overweight. They lowered their target to 304. That was from the end of February. And Citigroup's at a buy. They lowered their target to 265. That was all the way back. Can't even believe I'm saying that, but that was all the way back from February 9th. Amazon, of course, has some ETF exposure as well. The First Trust Dow Jones Internet Index Fund, or ticker FDN, it has a 9.89% weighting in that fund. The iShares Global Consumer The iShares Global Consumer Discretionary Fund, ticker RXI, it's got a 9.6% weighting in that. And the Dana Unconstrained Equity ETF, or ticker DUNK, D-U-N-K, it's got a 9.10% weighting in that. So Amazon, more news here. We've talked about Project Hail Mary being a possible theatrical success. The early indications are that's exactly what we're getting. What kind of impact will that have on Amazon's stock price going forward here? All right. More portfolio stuff here. This is courtesy of BlackRock. BlackRock pivots hard for the third time in 50 years, chasing 300 to 400% returns with 4 commodity plays. This comes from a former banker. Anyone that wants to kind of go over this, I'll drop the article for this one in the chat as well. BlackRock is systematically dumping long-duration U.S. government bonds, executing a massive structural shift into real assets that occurred exactly 3 times in the last 50 years, according to an expert. The world's largest asset manager is abandoning the classic 60-40 portfolio as its traditional protections break down, according to a recent analysis by Felix Pren, a former investment banker and co-founder of Ace Trader. Historically, when stock prices fell, government bonds provided a haven. Today, driven by sticky inflation and geopolitical supply shocks, both asset classes are falling in tandem. This rare macroeconomic alignment mirrors the inflationary periods of the 1970s and the early 2000s. Pren notes that the last 2 times Wall Street executed a bond-to-commodity rotation this hard, the underlying assets delivered staggering returns of 300 to 400% over the subsequent 5-year period. The catalyst for this defensive positioning lies in escalating global tensions, particularly energy disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz. Rick Reeder, BlackRock's CIO of global fixed income, describes these near-term energy spikes as episodic supply shocks that act more like attacks on consumers, end quote. With inflation expectations rising, bond yields must climb to compensate investors, subsequently crushing bond prices. This comes as the 10-year Treasury rose to 4.41 on Friday. BlackRock strategist recently warned that the government bonds and gold are not providing ballast as equities fall, forcing the firm to pivot towards a Plan B diversification strategy tied to real economic strength. Now, here's where the money is flowing, and this is why I wanted to cover this. As bonds lose their defensive appeal, capital is aggressively rotating into 4 distinct commodity plays to capture historical upside, according to Pren. Gold miners and streamers, leveraging fixed production costs against rising spot prices for massive margin expansion. ETFs and stocks such as the VanEck Gold Miners, or GDX. Where's Lion? I thought we were going to have him early this morning. Franco-Nevada, ticker FNV, and Wheaton Precious Metals, ticker WPM, could be affected by this money flow. As far as copper, which we've also talked about quite a bit recently here, capitalizing on extreme supply deficits driven by the global AI data center and infrastructure build-out, copper miners like Freeport-McMoRan, or ticker FCX, could also benefit. Uranium, which is another kind of metal or commodity that we have been talking about trading here recently, exploiting a structurally lopsided market where demand is mandated to surge amid massive annual supply shortages. Funds and stocks such as the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, SRUUF, and Cameco, ticker CCJ, could benefit from these developments. And as far as energy producers go, targeting cash-flowing oil giants offering high dividend yields and a geopolitical premium amid Middle East pressures. Those would be things like ExxonMobil, ticker XOM, Chevron, ticker CVX, and ConocoPhillips, ticker COP, may also see a flow of capital amid such rotation. This is the one that's got me the most excited because this is the one I feel like our group has traded more often here, whether it's me or some of the other viewers there. Go Steve, I'm sorry, I'm just catching this now. I'm sorry to do this out of order. Go Steve D says, I saw Project Hail Mary over the weekend. It's a pretty good flick. Kind of reminded me a bit of Castaway with Wilson. Okay, interesting. That's actually some pretty good insight. I actually really liked Castaway when I saw that when it came out in theaters. So that's good to hear. The reviews are coming in. Thank you for giving them a review with no spoilers too, Steve. That's much appreciated. Much appreciated. Okay. Take a quick look here. I know that there's a lot going on. So while I have some other news here, I just want to update you on everything else that I'm seeing here. We will take a look at Ondas. I know that they're going to report earnings here. They already have. We'll take a look at that here in a sec. S&P futures holding pretty steady right now, given everything that's happened this morning. We're up by 0.15% right now, and we are up off of the impulse pullback low. So I still think we're trying to figure out what the next direction is here, but we made an impulse move. We retraced some of that move, and so far we're holding steady. We'll see how that changes as we approach the open. Next story here has to do with Tesla. Gary Black warns that the Tesla SpaceX merger could reduce Tesla's value by 25%. Investor Gary Black, who's the managing director of the Future Fund LLC, has warned against a merger between Tesla and SpaceX, sharing concerns about the effects of such a move on Tesla investors, which is weird because when I talk to Tesla investors, they have the opposite feeling. Taking to the social media platform X on Sunday, the investor shared his concerns with the possible merger, directing his message at Tesla bulls. Black said that the deal could see a 20 to 25% reduction in the value of the EV giant stock. Wow. If Tesla, with 100x EV to EBITDA and 1.5 trillion market cap, buys SpaceX with a 200x EV to EBITDA and a 1.5 trillion market cap, the investor then broke down his analysis on why such a move would be detrimental to the company's stock. Quote, Tesla issues 1.5 trillion in new equity for the 1.5 trillion SpaceX equity. Combined entity now has 3 trillion equity and a 22.5 billion EBITDA. Tesla's EBITDA of 15 billion a year combined with SpaceX's EBITDA of 7.5 billion per year. Black then went on to outline that the post-merger stocks traded at the lowest common multiple and that SpaceX's cash flows were uncertain at the moment. Post-merger Tesla's SpaceX could trade at 100x EV to EBITDA, so 2.25 trillion. He said, adding that the figure illustrates a 25% reduction in the value of this for the stock, referring to it as a conglomerate discount. In my 30 years as a professional, quote, in my 30 years as a professional investor, I have rarely seen post-merger companies trade at blended multiples based on the underlying company's respective multiples and growth prospects, end quote. However, he did acknowledge that if SpaceX were to buy Tesla instead, it could result in short-term gains for Tesla shareholders, but warned that it could result in early investors who bought the stock due to EVs, autonomy, and robots selling their stock. So I would ask that, is there anyone out there that currently holds Tesla stock for the thesis of EVs, autonomy, and robots that would sell their stock if SpaceX kind of gets rolled into that? I'd like to hear from those investors personally. I tend to think that that wouldn't happen. I could easily be wrong. Quote, with conglomerates, the least common multiple generally prevails, end quote. He added that Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway was the only exception to the rule. Quote, a Tesla SpaceX merger is a solution looking for a problem, end quote. It's dilutive for Tesla shareholders, so it is unlikely to happen. The news comes as Musk remained bullish and optimistic about his terafab goal, which would comprise 2 separate chip fabs, defending the endeavor against skeptics who warn that it could fail given its massive scale. The project holds a heightened importance of Tesla's self-driving goals. Musk had also shared that his enterprise would exceed their rivals in AI development as SpaceX gears up for its IPO, which is reportedly going to take place in June this year. SpaceX was also touted by Musk as the leader in space-based AI. All right, how we doing on time here? 8:35. We're doing good. One more quick story here on Tesla. Gene Munster says that self-driving cars will drive first real-world physical AI adoption and hailed Tesla's full self-driving and Waymo. Investor Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management thinks that self-driving cars would demonstrate the first real-world adoptions of physical AI. Buckle up, he says. Taking to the social media platform X on Sunday, the investor shared an article by the Wall Street Journal which discussed the advent of self-driving cars. Buckle up, adding that the first wave of physical AI adoption at scale would in fact be autonomous vehicles. To back up his prediction, the investor cited developments in self-driving technology made by Tesla and Alphabet's Waymo. Quote, Tesla's full self-driving is making major gains, and Waymo is going from 6 cities at the end of 2025 to likely 25 by the end of 2026. Despite Munster's bullish take on the automaker's full self-driving technology, Tesla's autonomous driving system has been hit with major headwinds as the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, or the NHTSA, recently announced it was escalating its investigation into the technology. This comes as Tesla was ramping up its Terafab AI chip project, which is a crucial element to Tesla's self-driving efforts, as the AI 5 chip has been touted as a chip that would punch above its weight and also potentially see applications in data centers. Meanwhile, Waymo has cemented itself as the current leader in the U.S. robo-taxi race, with the company eyeing expansions across multiple cities throughout the globe. The robo-taxi operator has also reportedly considering a deal with Hyundai, which would see the operator add over 50,000 Ioniq 5 EVs to the Waymo fleet. In a bizarre phenomenon, though, drivers on the DoorDash platform were reportedly being paid close to $24 to close doors on Waymo's robo-taxis. According to users on social media, this is after Waymo riders forgot to close doors following a robo-taxi ride. I had not heard about that. The robo-taxi service has also been under scrutiny by the NHTSA following an incident when a Waymo AV collided with a child in Sacramento near a school zone. Over 3,000 Waymo EVs potentially facing investigation. Okay, I promised you I would talk a little bit about gold. I got one more story here. I was really hoping Lion was going to be here, but I guess he's busy, so it is what it is. Gold drops over 22%, and as a result, enters a bear market as inflation and oil surge pressure the prices. Gold has plummeted into a bear market, shedding over 22% from its January record highs as soaring oil prices tied to the escalating U.S.-Iran conflict trigger fears of persistent inflation and increasingly hawkish Federal Reserve. Gold, by the way, GLD anyway, closed at 413.38 on Friday, is currently at 405.21 here in the pre-market. So it is up about 30 points off of its pre-market lows, but still down from Friday's close. The precious metal hit an all-time high of $5,589 per ounce in January. However, at the last check, gold was trading at $4,357, which is down 22.12% from the record, marking a historic sell-off. Independent researcher at Ashen Seed Press, Shanka Anselm Pereira, noted the paradox. The war caused oil to spike above 112, which fanned inflation fears. Brent crude futures currently remain elevated near 107. WTI sits at 98. WTI, by the way, down here at 91 in the pre-market. Again, a lot is changing given some of the news that we've got earlier this morning. Responding to the persistence of inflation, the Federal Open Market Committee maintained its policy rate at 3.5 to 3.75% on March 18th. Fed Chair Jerome Powell explained the shift in the economic outlook during his press conference. Quote, near-term measures of inflation expectations have risen in recent weeks, likely reflecting the substantial rise in oil prices caused by supply disruptions in the Middle East, end quote. Powell further cautioned that in the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation, end quote. Consequently, the 10-year Treasury yield jumped to 4.41%. And as real yields rise, holding non-yielding paper gold becomes more expensive relative to treasuries. Prominent economist Peter Schiff heavily criticized the market's reaction to the hawkish pivot. Quote, selling gold because rising inflation will keep the Fed from cutting interest rates when rates are already too low makes no sense, end quote. Goes on to say, falling real rates are bullish for gold. If the stock market it's the stock market that needs rate cuts. That's why it makes no sense that stocks are down so little. I'll tell you what, it must be tiring being a bear and rooting against the US and rooting against the market all the time. That just must get so tiring. While leveraged traders may face margin calls and dump paper gold after the sell-off, physical accumulation continues. Central banks remain steadfast buyers, and the People's Bank of China recently extended its buying streak to 16 months. Anticipating long-term structural shifts, major institutions like JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank are ignoring short-term plumbing issues maintaining their ambitious year-end 2026 targets of 6,300 and 6,000, respectively. And there's some, for anyone that wants to go through this at all, there's some more performance for some of the ETFs listed in the table beneath that. Okay, one last story here. We are doing great on time, and we're going to have some extra time for tickers here. We will keep checking in on the market. Market's still kind of holding here right around resistance area 1 on the person's pivots. So this is holding right at about 66.80 on the futures right now. SPY's at 660 on the dot. Housing analysts are pushing back against fears of an imminent market collapse. In comments reported by Newsweek, experts said that the U.S. housing market is more likely to enter a normalization cycle than a systemic crash, even as affordability strains and demographic headwinds persist heading into the spring buying season. Now, I'm bringing this up because there's a lot of us that watch some of these housing stocks, whether it's mortgage origination stocks like Rocket or UWMC, to housing stocks like Zillow or Opendoor. A 2026 housing crash is not likely, said Michael Ryan, finance expert and founder of MichaelRyanMoney.com. He goes on to say, quote, a crash is a complete system break, forced selling, credit freezing, foreclosure waves, and panic spiraling on itself. That's not what the market is showing right now, end quote. Ryan described current conditions as a reset, noting that mortgage rates are hovering around 6.3%. He said forecasts cited in the report, including projections from Zillow, ticker Z, and Redfin, point to roughly a 1% national appreciation, a picture of stagnation, not collapse. Zillow's March forecast projects home values rising approximately 0.7 year over year by the end of 2026, with existing home sales reaching about 4.24 million transactions. Easing mortgage rates and growing inventory are expected to bring supply and demand into closer alignment, though sales volumes are projected to remain below historical norms. Kevin Thompson, CEO of 9i Capital Group, said in a shift, buyer psychology is helping activity open back up. Quote, people are beginning to accept that today's rates are more normal than what we saw over the last few years, end quote. Not all analysts are dismissive of downside risk. Drew Powers, founder of Powers Financial Group, cited an aging boomer population, a stagnant employment market, and potential AI-related layoffs as forces that could put downward pressure on home prices. Quote, home prices have skyrocketed, and at some point, the bubble has to burst, end quote. He goes on to say, timing the correction always proves to be the hard part. And indeed, timing any type of correction or reversal, whether it's housing, commodities, or otherwise, extremely difficult. Unlike the mid-2000s housing bubble, today's market is underpinned by stricter lending standards and persistent supply shortages, conditions that analysts say make a broad market collapse unlikely unless something changes. Policy is moving to ease barriers at the margin. President Trump signed an executive order on March 13th directing regulators to revise ability to repay and qualified mortgage rules, ease compliance burdens on community banks, and modernize the mortgage process through electronic signatures and AI-based appraisals. The administration said its $200 billion in mortgage-backed securities purchases has lowered the cost of a new mortgage by about $5,000. Stocks tied to digital mortgage infrastructure, including Rocket, ticker RKT, and DocuSign, ticker DOCU, have been in focus following this regulatory shift. Quote, what we're seeing instead is a normalization cycle. Some local markets will hurt, but nationally, this looks more like a cold market than a breaking one, end quote. So it'll be interesting to see if and when those stocks turn around. They've provided great trades in the past. They're really kind of back down to where they were before they made a huge move. So we'll see if we get any more opportunity to trade those here going forward. Okay. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Selena. It is great to see you folks. We got about 14 minutes until we're expecting 13 here. I actually moved through that news quicker than I thought I would, which is also awesome. This is going to leave us more time for ticker time. But before we do that, I want to do our street tweet segment. This is going to kind of tie back into some of the breaking news that we're getting here today. Let's go ahead and roll that. All right, the first tweet is one from over the weekend, and it comes from Elon himself. I would like to offer to pay the salaries of TSA personnel during the funding impasse that is negatively affecting the lives of so many Americans at airports throughout the country. Now, on the surface, great. Anything that gets those TSA agents paid and back working is going to benefit many more people than just the TSA agents themselves. This sounds great on the surface. How feasible is this? I don't know. But we're clearly seeing more and more things moving in that direction. I don't have a tweet for you on this, but apparently also there are going to be ICE agents at the airport to help the TSA agents and reduce the length of these lines. Anyone that spent any time on social media over the weekend saw some of the lines, namely out of Atlanta, that just look absolutely insane. And anything that we could do to help this will be beneficial. I don't know if this is going to happen, but this is clearly drumming up a lot of response. There's more and more talk about this. So something is going to happen here sooner rather than later. From a personal note, I sure hope it happens before I travel on an airplane again here this summer. I've got 2 possible trips lined up, and I really hope that this stuff gets resolved. So take it with a grain of salt, but a good sign, at least so far. We'll see how that changes over the course of the day. Producer, next tweet. Next tweet, this is what I was saying earlier. I kind of already showed this to you, but we've got a post here from Trump that they're not going to strike the energy infrastructure. The key takeaway, reading through the lines, well, we'll see if it ends up being worth it or not. It's not a ceasefire. It's just kind of a prolonged prolonged negotiation process. So whatever you think about this, I think the key takeaway here is that over this week, we're going to hear some more about this, and it is directly going to impact the stocks that we're trading and the broader market as a whole. So I don't think that there's anyone out there that's going to be able to say, yeah, I know exactly how this is going to end. Things are still in flux, and we should expect that as traders. We should not get complacent. Instead, we should be nimble and be ready. Okay, let's go back to Pro here. Let's get Pro back up. Let's see how we doing on time. Perfect. We've got 10 minutes until we start pre-market pulse. That means we have time for ticker time. And the first thing that I want to do is I just want to run through a couple of the big stocks or tickers, if you will, that we're looking at. Here's the SPY. So this is what I was talking about. Here's the impulse move from the Truth, the President's Post. Interestingly enough, look where we moved to. This is why we leave a lot of these lines on from previous areas, because they end up becoming important again in the future. We basically traded right back up to the bottom end. I had been calling this the support range over the past couple of weeks. This range is between 667.34 and 672.99 or 673. This was a previous all-time high breakout area that should now act as support, with us being under it for several days. And if I zoom out here, you can see we actually tested this area back and forth quite a bit. In fact, I think there's even more than that if I go back. Yeah, indeed, going all the way back to the beginning of March. We've really been testing this area. So to me, it is unsurprising that our impulse pop stopped right about there. Now, which direction do we go next? I'll let you folks figure that out and trade it accordingly based on how you feel. But definitely, we've got 2 pretty good key levels on deck here for today. Remember, let me go back to the 4-hour chart here. Remember, I had been talking to you about this broadening descending wedge that we have here. It's probably the most clear on the 4-hour chart. So these areas that we have here are going to be the sloping down trend line, and then also the area there for the previous supply area. So we're kind of in between right there. Downside, I've got this at about 654 and 3/4. Upside there is 667.34. I'm curious to see if we're able to close above this here today, if we actually have the strength to trade back up, or if we simply give everything back and come in and test this downside trend line. If we do break this trend line, really what I would be looking at is probably the 645 area. All right, that would probably be the next spot that I'd be looking at. Okay, that's SPY. I wanted to take a quick, let me stay on the intraday chart here. I want to run through a few of the bigger stocks here. NVIDIA, this looks like it's just moving with the overall market, so nothing special there. I guess I should check the news. Apple, this also looks like it's moving with the broader market. Let me check on some of the oil names. Here's ConocoPhillips, which made a high close to 129 here in the pre-market. This actually looks like it might go lower. I would expect XOM. Yep, looks very similar. CVX, probably the same deal here. Yep, indeed. All of these kind of look like they're trading together here. Another real quick check. Here's gold, which we talked about. GLD, this also looking like this might go red-green. So this was down considerably in the pre-market. That was kind of a head-scratcher. This ended up moving up with the market on that Trump post. But this intraday 5-minute chart actually looks stronger than the SPY. So on the SPY, we were unable to take out that impulse high. But here on GLD, we are able to take that out, and we're only 0.4 away from going red to green. Let's do another quick check-in on silver and see what that's doing. The same thing as gold. And in fact, silver has already gone red-green. We're now green by 2.5% on the back of that. So any of you, I'll tell you what, and I'm sure Jay, someone that lives in Arizona and gets up earlier than all of us, day trader, someone that lives on the West Coast gets up earlier than all of us, including the Arizona folk. It really pays to be up early, right? If you were active here this morning, you got some pretty big moves early that you can take advantage of. If you missed it, no worries. We should have plenty of action here today. Plenty of action here today. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ondas real quick. I have not looked at this. Obviously, this was not out before we went on live, and then we had all of the new posts with what's going on with the conflict in the Middle East. Ondas here holding higher by 4%. Great. Let's see what we had here. So Ondas, first quarter EPS here, that was a 36-cent loss. That actually missed the 5-cent loss estimate. I would imagine that this is going to be on some of the acquisitions that it's made in this past quarter. Sales of 30.112 million, beat the estimate of 27.62. That's great. It's great to see. It's only a beat by about 3 million there, maybe a little bit less than that. But so far it's great. It's a really good sign. We want to see more of these. We want to see this continuing. We want to see that this growth and this beating the expectation become a consistent thing rather than just kind of a one-off or a two-off through select quarters. Ondas sees Q1 sales of 38 to 40 million. That's versus the estimate of 28.374 million. Remember, they had preliminary revenue range where they said that it was going to be 29 through 31. And now we're hearing it's 38 through 40. So pretty good there for the revenue range. And they're expected the fiscal year 2026 revenue expected to be at least 375 million. They had reaffirmed the range of 170 to 180 million. Looks like it's going to be higher than that. So good report here, at least for Ondas. And then we also had Ondas to acquire Worldview, building on the shared vision for the multi-domain interconnected intelligence platform. Remember, this was part of the news. We talked about this in joint venture Advanced European. It wasn't this one. Indo-Earth. There was another one where we looked at this one. I can't remember. Here it is. It was the partnership with Palantir. On the morning, we got the partnership with Palantir and Worldview. This was already talked about, so this not a terrible surprise here. Looks pretty good. This is going to help, obviously, with the ISR capabilities for Ondas. So all in all, pretty good report. It looks like on the surface. I'll dive into that a little bit more when I have some more time here today. But the other thing that's worth noting, Ondas clearly moving with the rest of the market on the back of that Truth Social post. Okay. What time is it? 8:56 with just a couple of minutes till 13. What else do you folks want? Oh, Jay, you're already bringing one up. Perfect. We're going to start here with DKNG, and then we'll also take a look at Flutter. GP38 Super, appreciate this. Target 7x growth for 2026 for Ondas. That would be awesome. The more that this company can grow, that's going to be really the next stage in the price appreciation here. Let's hope that we get it. So far, so good. Looking pretty good. Again, when the conference call happens, I'll run the conference call through AI. I'll take a look at the transcript and I'll see if there's anything else that we can get from that. If you folks have anything, I, of course, love to hear it. I know Ondas, again, show favorite here, becoming pretty popular. Okay, now with some of these, Jay, I'm really glad that you brought this one up. Some of these gambling stocks. I did finally hit a parlay yesterday. Awesome. That's on FanDuel. We'll get to that here in a sec. DraftKings is going to be the first one. It's ticker DKNG. You take a look at this. This stock has been in trouble. This thing death crossed back in October of last year. And in that time, it's had one bounce to speak of. Bounce really kind of took us from about 28 and a quarter up to 35. And then we gave everything back and set some new lows here. But we got some positive news here today. Shares of sports betting related companies are trading higher after reports suggesting that some U.S. senators plan to submit a bill today that would ban CFTC regulated enterprise, including prediction markets, from offering wagers on sporting events. So this is important because I don't think the prediction markets are going anywhere. I don't think the chat thinks that's going to happen at all either. But prediction markets not allowing sports betting, I am very confident that there has been a lot of people that have started to move towards prediction markets. This then might move some of them back. So DraftKings here, if we take a look at the intraday chart, this is what it looks like. We are substantially off of the lows where we closed on Friday. We'll see if we're able to get above. Really, 26 looks to be the next important spot here. DraftKings sitting at 25.38. The other stock of note on the back of this news is going to be Flutter. That's ticker FLUT. And traditionally, Flutter has been a much better stock than DraftKings. This also popping, and in fact, this up 10%. So this up even more than DraftKings. If we go back to the daily chart on Flutter, here's why this is important. Now, I'm not sure why all of that stuff disappeared there, but whatever. Flutter, huge move down, this break of the trend line. Really all you needed here, right? We broke it once. We tried to back test it. We couldn't. We continued to fall. This, to me, looks like this is at a support area. We're right around the round 100 number. It looks like we've kind of held that. This was trading sideways for the last couple of weeks here. Real tight range. Obviously, with the news today, we are popping back. So Flutter also moving higher. Got to know from the group here, who's trading any of these gambling stocks? Have you traded them before? Have they made for good gains? Are you trading them now? Does the news today change this at all? I think that these are definitely something that you can keep on deck here for today, just to kind of watch and see if they provide any day trades. Okay, let me go back to the chat here real quick. Marionette, you want to take a look at MU? That's a good idea. We should probably also add SanDisk to that as well. Mr. Chesdog 74, awesome handle. Could we see a market short squeeze today? So I don't know if we would call it necessarily a market short squeeze. I guess if you wanted to call it that, you could. There's definitely, we can definitely see some more extreme movement. I know we've already seen some here today, but we could see some more. We have been saying for a long time, this is a tough market to short, never short a dull market. I brought on guests who have said the same thing here as well. So I would imagine that there's definitely going to be some folks that are offsides given the big swings that we've seen and some of the big news drops that we've seen here. But is this going to turn into an all-day squeeze event here today? I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I tend to think, if I'm a betting man, I tend to think that we're going to see some back and forth. Hell, we've already seen that with Trump saying that they've had talks, and then the Iranian state media, trust him if you will, saying that there aren't any. I would suspect that over the next few days, and including today's session, we're going to see some more of that. So I'm not 100% certain that we're going to see a squeeze here today. But given the news catalyst, I think you are definitely going to see some action. All right, so Micron here. Micron looks very similar to what we're seeing here in the SPY, right? We had the impulse move from the Truth Post. We had a pullback, and we have another move back towards the highs. Micron is holding steady here by about 1.75%. When we take a look at the daily chart here, we were basically, prior to this, we were basically holding the 20-day. So even without the news that we got here this morning, I could have made an argument that what we've seen in the memory markets lead me to believe that as long as MU can hold this 417 area here today, this could absolutely set up for a bounce. Now, given the catalyst that we have, I think that's probably more likely. The two downside key areas that I'd be watching here are going to be the 417 area. That's the 20-day moving average. It's off by a penny. And then the 402 area, which is the 50-day moving average. Upside levels here, it's all going to be about that all-time high, right? I mean, yeah, we have a little bit of a gap in here. So I guess if we break above the body of this candle, 447, 450 area, maybe you fill that gap up towards the all-time high. But given the action here today, I would imagine this just trades with the regular market. It's already gone red to green here today. So that's pretty good deal. SanDisk, I'm guessing you're going to be looking at about the same thing. And indeed. Yes, it is. This is going to be about the same thing here. So SanDisk, we'll see what we end up getting. SanDisk also, this wasn't as close to the 20-day moving average, but here we are. This is right up near all-time highs. The stock's been an absolute monster. I would expect both of these to be volatile here today and trade on some high volume as well. Okay. Kathy says, sadly, I don't trust either Iran or Trump statements. Fine place to be in then. And with that being the case, Kathy, I really just think that this is being nimble is going to be your best friend here today. I would expect more volatility. If you're nimble and if you're sticking to your risk profile there, you should be able to trade this in either direction. Good to hear that you don't trust Iran, though, at least. Okay. Jay Rice saying, Swarmer, SWMR, hoped you listened to my David Prince comments last Friday. Jay, that's a little ambiguous there, Jay. Here's SWMR. This now down 6% here. Let's take a look at the inside candle. This down 6% here. And look, so this was actually down earlier, tried to go red to green and couldn't. So, Jay, I just out of curiosity, do you think that this rolls over and maybe tests some area lower, given how it's overvalued and extended? And then the action here today, I actually think you might be looking at a larger red number here today, Jay. Let me know what you think about that. All right, enough of me yakking. It's time for 13 to get cracking. I'm sorry, I just made that up on the spot, so it's not great. Let's go ahead and start our pre-market pulse. 13, good morning. Happy Monday, dude.
The bars this man drops. Am I right, folks? Good morning, Ryan. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend.
13, I'm currently sitting in third out of 85 in the bracket that I'm in. So I'll just go with that. I got rested up here. We got some good weather over the weekend. The car's all clean. So things are good. But man, oh man, it didn't even wait until the show started this morning on Monday before we got some crazy news and crazy moves in the market. So I think we're in for a big one here this week.
We will see.
Okay. Cogent analysis right there. Awesome. All right. Where do you want to start? You want to start with some of the movers? Was there any specific stock that you want to take a look at? And Sean here saying Ryan is greater than Eminem. Okay. Well, I mean, well, I'll let you, thank you, Sean. I'm going to take that as a compliment and I'll just move on because just like Fairchild, this is kind of my reaction to that. Good morning, Fairchild. It's great to see you. All right, 13. Any specific stock, or should I just start with the movers list?
Just start with the movers. Let's get these out of the way.
Get them out of the way. Sounds like 13 is on something else here that he wants to discuss. Okay, first stock here is going to be GMEX. This is GMEX Robotics. They secured a $4.2 million purchase agreement with an Australian food and beverage group for deployment of intelligent culinary robotic systems. That's 4.2 million Australian dollars, by the way. Here's a peek at the chart. This was penny stock. It is into dollar territory. Sure looks like 150 was the resistance area. We're above the VWAP, so we've made a second leg higher move here. So if this pulls back and maybe holds on the VWAP, maybe that will be a possible entry spot. Quick peek at the short interest. I got nothing from this print. So I have no short interest data on that. Can't tell you if there's going to be a squeeze. I would guess Probably not. Looking at this, it trades about 668,000 shares per day. We've done 20 million here today versus a float of 1.2 million. 13, I've never pulled this up in my broker before. I have no idea what GMEX is, but it is a robotic company that's moving on a headline. What say you about this bad boy?
Well, this is actually...
Oh, it's formerly FTEL. Thank you, Wis. Thank you. I love this chat. Thank you. We've traded FTEL before, so.
I mean, yeah, this was, I mean, it was a, yeah, so it was formerly FTEL. So don't really need to delve into that, but this hasn't been trading on this ticker for too long. As far as the cash goes, it looks like they have a little less than 3 million in the bank. They do, the last reported income statement, they reported over 5 million that they did in revenue. So they're growing their revenue. They're getting their losses to come in a little bit here, but it's just on the edge of profitability right now, as far as I can tell. Not a profitable half of the year yet. I think they only report 2 times a year. As far as the chart goes, it looked like we were coming up to some resistance on the daily chart. Let me just pull this back up here. I think it was the 20-day SMA that we were running into. That's where we're at right now. The value of that is 139. We're trading at 135. So we might be at an area right now of resistance. Maybe we do see it peak slightly higher above the 20-day SMA and hit 150. But I don't know if this is going to have any staying power. Let me look at a smaller time frame here. So like I said, it might pop up and print a little bit higher here. It looks like that's what it's trying to do right now in the pre-market. We did just break through the one. Looks like the 125, 130 area, and that brought us up to 147. Now we're coming back down to test that breakout area as support. VWAP's also in that area at 127. So I would think that right about here at the 125 to 130 area, we're going to want to see the price find that support and trade up from that level. So that would be the best case scenario, but I don't think this is going to go a whole lot higher. We'll see if it does. If it does go beyond 150, I would be looking at $2 as a resistance area.
Okay, so 150 first, maybe 2. We'll see what we end up getting. Good stuff there. GMEX, formerly FTEL. Thank you, Wis. Bang, bang, bang. All right, next here is UGRO. This is ticker UGRO, Urban Grow. This thing was just over $2, closed at 218 on Friday, traded all the way up, above 4 earlier today, 430s. Looks like it before it backed off here. IGP to expand T20 cricket footprint across Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and Zimbabwe following a merger with Flash Sports Media. So an all-stock merger with Flash Sports, bringing its portfolio of T20 league commercial rights to UGRO. They also, back on Monday, March 9th, they regained NASDAQ compliance. This is operated an integrated professional services and design build firm offering architectural, engineering, and construction management solutions to the CEA. Okay, so stock is popping here by 58%. This is easily one of the best movers here so far in the pre-market, even given the big headline that we have. Multiple impulse moves higher. Looks like we stopped at just about, like I was saying, 430s there. Quick peek at the short interest on this, 5.6% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. On average, stock trades only 100,000 shares, but today we've done 35.6 million. This thing is a micro float, under a million shares, 675,000 in the float there. So unsurprised to see this huge move. 13, what do you got for us on UGRO?
So this one was losing compliance, NASDAQ compliance. So they had to do a reverse split. That already happened. That was earlier this year. This was on the 5th of February. That's why you have the float as low as it is. And then the company did end up regaining compliance. Whatever the company says it is, it's now going to be a big player in the cricket league. I don't know a whole lot about cricket, so that's about where
me
my
either.
comment
Actually,
on that's
I'm a sports fanatic, but I don't know shit about cricket, dude. I'm serious.
And then it still looks like they're going to need to raise some more cash. They don't have a whole lot of them on the balance sheet, and I suspect that they're going to need to raise because they don't have enough revenue. And this merger was I believe this is all stock. I might be wrong about that, but I thought this was an all stock. Yeah, it is an all
Yeah,
all
it
stock
is.
merger.
I believe I read that already.
Yeah, you did. You did. So, yeah, I think the real risk here with this one is that there could be a capital raise coming as early as today. In the meantime, if we want to try and trade this, well, it's lost its VWAP. It looks like it could be weakening into the open here. I would think that if this continues down, like it can't recapture its VWAP from right here, that support's going to be at about 325. You also have the 65 and 200 EMAs that could provide, support beneath that at 302 and 267. But let's see what happens at that 325 area first. For now, I don't know that this is going to be a great one, but if we do get that support in the areas I just mentioned as we entered the open, maybe we do get something right out of the gate.
Okay, good stuff there. UGRO. We'll see what we get in terms of tradability here today. All right, next is going to be AIFF, and this is on the movers tool because of where this thing closed. Had a really kind of a nasty close there on Friday. We are higher here by about 25%. Let me see if there was any news on this here today. Nothing fresh here today. Last piece of news we have is from Friday, February 13th. So again, just the way it closed and where it sits here today is why it's on the movers tool here. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. 3.25% of the float shorted with 6.82 days to cover. On average, this trades 7.8 million shares, traded just shy of a million here today, and that's versus a float of 13.43 million. Now, looking at AIFF, we've traded this one a bit before. It's made a huge run. Obviously, had a huge move back down here. But what are we thinking where this is at? This 150 area, does this actually act as support? Might we be able to retake 2 here? What do we think? AIFF 13.
Didn't look at this one this morning. There was another one that I was keeping an eye on, and I realized that it wasn't really having a lot of high volume. So it was the JFB name. So don't have to worry about that. But AIFF, 13.5 million shares in the float. Doesn't make a whole lot of revenue. Has a little more than 4 million in cash, but I think they did do a capital raise just recently, earlier this month. Sells 1.5 million units at $1.50 a unit to raise 2.25 million. So they are. I don't know if that's ever closed or not, but it looks like they are working on raising capital. So I don't think that there's going to be like an offering happening today. That wouldn't make sense to me. As far as where this goes today, I mean, this looks like it's been pretty much rolling over here, hasn't it? For the past,
yeah, it's basically been sideways here in the that's what I was trying to outline here. It's basically been sideways in the pre-market, nothing really exciting, and the volume's not great. The reason it's showing up on the tools because of the close on Friday.
Okay, I would just say, if there's upside here, I see resistance at 2 to 205. I don't know what we're going to get today out of this one, but that's basically the earliest resistance I see if we're looking for upside here.
Okay, 205. We'll see what we end up getting. All right. The next couple of tickers on this list here are all ETFs. We do have American. That's actually up here. Shares of the airline companies are trading higher amid the oil price declines from the truth post that we got here from Trump earlier. This actually looking like this is trying to go higher here too. So American moved with that initial post or tweet. I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth on what to call it. Came back in. This actually looks like it might push for green there. 13, I covered the DraftKings, which is the other stock on here. Is there anything else from this list that you would like to cover?
Well, the only thing that was kind of standing out to me was that some of these robotics names were pretty, I don't want to say stacked. They appeared to have more of a presence than some of these other names. So maybe keep an eye on some of these robotics companies. It just, it's interesting. I think the one I was looking at that doesn't have any movement, the JFB one, I think this was interesting because I was reading into it. Apparently, there is a split that's happened today, even though they said in their news it was going to be on the 24th. It's a 2-for-1 split today. But this is also connected to UMAC and Trump, Eric Trump. So just thought that was kind of interesting. We had a little bit of movement earlier this morning on that one, but just starting to see some interesting things happening here on the robotic side. I'm just thinking maybe it's a good idea to watch those names.
Okay. All right. What does the group want to see? Anything out there? Okay. So we're just going to nip this here in the bud. Lion, Zach, Pete, Jay, anyone else. If you guys want to discuss politics, pick a different show. I would be happy to escort you out the door if that's what you want to do here today. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to try and trade what's going on and look at stocks here. So let me know what it is that you want to do. No wrong answers. But if what you want to do is discuss politics, figure out a different channel to go to. Pretty clear? Cool. We'll keep moving on. Anna here. This is one from last week that made a pretty big move. This has not given back its gain from Friday yet. So perhaps that's going to be still on deck here today. The reason I say that is because it's actually already down 10.5% from the close there on Friday. And with no volume here today, expect this to maybe pull back in a little bit more. I don't see anything else here on Anna. Nope. So this is likely just going to move with everything else that's going on, but we're staring at a pretty nasty red number here after an unbelievable green number there on Friday. 13, you got anything on the chart that stands out there for Anna?
Well, I mean, there might be support around 6. I remember this one from Friday. This was fantastic when we drew 2 different trend lines for it, and we got a breakout over one of them, and we tapped the other one. I don't think you have it on there anymore, but
should I draw them from the daily?
Let's go back to the 5-minute. We'll draw from there because I extended the lower one, and it's kind of interesting the interaction we've been getting with the price. So let's start with that one. This is from the pre-market of Friday. I guess this would be a little bit more in the after hours, but let's start with the high of the after hours from Thursday and do the high from the pre-market on Friday.
Oh, look at that, dude.
Yeah. So funny stuff.
I mean, it's like, how does it get to be that precise?
Because computers are trading this.
That's a good answer. Actually. It's a really good answer.
And then the other one that we had that we drew started with the first high of the after hours on Thursday, and then we drew it through the second high of the after hours. Thursday. That's here. There you go. That one.
That's right. We did do this really steep one, didn't? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're like, oh, it's never hitting that, and then it hit it.
I remember this. So this is what you had. Now, unless I'm just drawing this line incorrectly, I actually don't have it hitting it. You're saying it did hit it.
It did hit it when it reached for the first time 760. That's when it hit my trend line.
Then I'm going to draw it like this, just so that I don't lose track of that.
Okay.
So and I guess what you're saying is if things really get rowdy today, maybe we can extend this one out a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like, we're going to need to see the price recover today, and from the move down that it's had in the after hours and the pre-market here this morning. So we don't want to lose that lower trend line that we drew, because I think if we do, then the party's probably over. So I would say if we get a move down to that trend line again, and it bounces and starts to move up and away, then I think that we've got our support. But if we lose this trend line and when we come back up to it, if we back tested it and get rejected, I think it's done. It's just going to come back in some more.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else that we want to take a look at? Let's see here. It looks like Battle. That was another mover here from before. BATL. Let's see where that's at. This I definitely expect to continue moving with the oil price here. You can see this has had a wild pre-market here. The whim that we have, this is based on what we've already discussed, right? This is based on the movement with oil on the back of the post here. So Battalion doing its best to hold on to 11. Who was it that brought this one up here real quick? Bob, are you looking for a long side move here? Are you looking for this maybe to bounce, come back in? What are you looking for? Let me know. It does look like it's trying to hold. Nope, we're beneath that here today. Yeah, I was going to say, so we gave this back up. We've got another possible gap down here, $7 maybe. I mean, this to me looks like it wants to go lower. It's already down 13.73% here.
Yeah, I would say if we can't get back above those moving averages, that those are going to be resistance. That's going to push the price down lower.
Okay. Okie dokie. All right, what else do we got here? We've got 9 minutes left.
There was a mention on.
And you were going long. Sorry, really quick, Bob. I'd asked you if you're going long or short. You're looking for a long setup here. BATL.
Billy was mentioning that GMEX had a pullback near the 9 EMA on the 15. This one is looking like it's trying to recover here a little bit. I think my concern is when I'm looking at the 5-minute, can this recapture the VWAP? I am not sure we're going to get that quite yet, but maybe that changes after we get into the regular session. But right now, it looks like VWAP is going to be resistance as we approach the open.
Okay. Good stuff there. GMEX. We'll see what we end up getting. All right.
I don't think we've had this commenter by this name before. Choctaw, nice to meet you. AHMA just took off. Can't find the news. I'm going to look at that. Sorry, Ryan, if you were saying something else.
No, that's fine. I'm looking for somewhere to go here before we open. Got 8 minutes left until we open. This AHMA, Ambitions Enterprise Management Board, sure looks like this is moving on a news spike here. Nope.
Okay, so this is a company that through its subsidiaries in the United Arab Emirates operates as a tour operator, travel agency. So basically, this is like if the conflict over there is getting is seeing some alleviation, then maybe this company does better because tourism, it's going to come back now. Now that the conflict's winding down, I guess that's the thought here. So that would be the what I would pin on the reason why it's moving here is that it's been hammered down with in combination with the Middle East news, but now that it seems like we're trying to resolve that conflict, they're trading back up. So I would say that's the news you're seeing, or I'm sorry, the reason for the movement you're seeing here with AHMA.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like this is just kind of moving with all of that. Okay, good stuff there on that. What else you got? Thank you, Webcoin. AHMA, toss restricted. Okay.
And yeah, Bob, I think you're right with the turmoil in the industry is going to be very volatile. It's going to make for some good trades.
I mean, like I was saying, it's already made for that here today.
Yeah. All right. So what is it we were looking at here before we open? We've got less than 2 minutes. Actually, almost about 1 minute and 15.
What do you mean? We've got 7 minutes till we open here.
I'm sorry. You're right.
SMCI, that's another one on here that's given. This thing's been through the ringer as well. Here's SMCI. Actually, looked like this was going to have more negative movement here today. Tried to pop a little bit with the post that we got earlier. Still hasn't been able to go red green. Still down by about 1% here. We'll see what's next here for SMCI. This is still no touch for me. Don't like it. We are down near a support area, so maybe if this holds on to 18. The way I look at this, there are better things out there to trade than SMCI. But 13, give it a shot if you want.
I mean, it kind of blew my mind that I got this one so right. And I didn't even touch it. But the thing that I had been saying about this one when we had this massive run up and then the early turmoil about with the company and not filing their quarterly earnings, and there was all this. I looked into this company to see what the issues were, and this isn't the first time that they've done something like this. So this company had some real big internal problems with their leadership and their staff. So it just was something I didn't even want to touch. And it's kind of funny because now here we are with the exact same thing that they were getting in trouble for before, or they were accused of getting in trouble before. I think it was during the reporting delay. It's come to fruition. It's come to light. This company is just they can't stop the fraud. They can't stop the thievery, and I just don't want anything to do with this company.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the way I see it, like, I'm glad that they're cooperating, and the investigation alleges individuals rather than the company. So that's a good thing. But like, how do you know there's not going to be some other tape bomb surprise that comes out 2 weeks from now or 2 months from now?
Because when I was looking at this, they did something like one of the first times they got in trouble. It was I think the same folks they and on a financial side, and they disciplined them or they kicked some of those out, and then they brought them back in later. And it's just a rinse and repeat cycle with this company. So I wouldn't want to deal with these guys at all.
Yeah,
it's just
neither.
cooking the books, delaying, and Ernst and Young, that whole thing. Just there's better stuff to trade in on.
Graph saying, isn't SMCI integral to the AI rollout?
No.
I would say no, absolutely not. And in fact, when we were first talking about the news that was dragging SMCI down, we also gave you at the same time, Dell might be a winner in this whole thing.
I think Dell was a winner before with their ambitions in 6G, along with NVIDIA and that whole ecosystem. But now even more so. They're also a big contributor to the Trump accounts. So, that I think that kind of gives them a little bit of a lift. And I'm not, trying to turn this into a political thing, but I think that that carries some weight. And I think Dell's a better company. That's
EKS just putting it squarely for you. Buy Dell instead.
Yeah.
Buy Dell instead. Okay. We got 3 minutes. Anything else? USAR, Daniel.
Awesome. Probably might see these mineral names start coming back at some point soon.
And actually, these two look like they might try and go higher here, right? These two might look like they might try and push above that impulse high.
Yeah. Some folks have been asking for some other tickers, and Nikolai's been asking about Novo. He wants to look at Novo,
NVO.
Yeah. Let's try to. We know we are trying to get to every one of them that you guys put out here. So this had news about Lexicon and Novo initiating a phase 1 study for development of for obesity and associated metabolic disorders. So I don't know how this is different than the GLP-1s, but I think this is the news that we have out here that it's talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read through it there. We're still to make progress on the critical development here. Sorry. This is why I like to have AI. It does it so much faster than I do. Offers a novel approach to the treatment of obesity and related metabolic conditions. It's an important addition to our pipeline and potential treatment options. Okay, so that's fine, and that's all well and good. Is this going to be enough to turn around look at the trend that this thing is on? This thing has clearly been a loser of the GLP-1 trade. Do we think that this is the catalyst that turns it around?
Well, I think that if there is some more downside, it's not too much more. I would think that somewhere between 25 and 30, you're going to see your bottoming. That's my.
So is that kind of coincide with this sideways area from 2020?
Yeah, and if you look at a weekly or a monthly, you might be able to see it better.
Here, let's do that real quick. Here's your monthly.
There it is. There's that consolidation right there.
Yeah, right in here. I gotcha. Okay. See, here's the thing. Like, trading the GLP-1 angle, like, what's the case for buying Novo instead of something that's just crushing it like Lilly? Other than, well, Novo is really depressed and maybe it goes up again. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think they're getting their butt kicked on every aspect of this. I just don't know if this is the catalyst that's really going to turn it around. Okay, let me flip over to the main workspace here, not the welcome page. We need the main workspace here. SPY dropping just ahead of the open. Let's see how we do here today.
All right, let's see what we got. You grow. Is it going to grow past the VWAP or is it going to fall? Looking at some of these other ones here. GMAX. Man, there is some muted movement out of the gate with these movers.
That doesn't surprise me, given everything that's going on the macro side there. Oil still relatively steady. VIX print here, 24.59. SPY continuing to pull back. The low from the pullback pre-market happened at about 655. So we're currently at 657 here in the SPY. And given the 0 DTE trades here, definitely going to wait this out a little past the open. I'll let you know if I see anything else from the unusual option activity. Also, right. GMAX trying to turn around. Yeah,
that's trying to come up to the VWAP here. This one, kind of wondering if we're going to see this go beyond the 125, 130 area. I think that's where this resistance is for now. So we'll see if we can go past that. Large seller in the way at 130. If it does get through that, there's more sellers in the way up in the 140s.
PASS, Pan American Silver. This actually looks like this might be trying to go higher. Remember, I shared that article earlier that had said some of those stocks, some of the minor stocks might actually do better. WPM was listed in that. That here also in the green, right out of the open.
All right. Well, we are getting some upside movement here with Ugro, just a little bit. Big seller on the way up 378 to 380. You see a little bit more volume if we're going to go higher. GMEX almost at the VWAP. AIFF, nice move up through the 200 EMA on the 5-minute.
Ugro currently getting rejected by its VWAP there at 370. And actually, it looked like a seller tried to walk it down, but it's right back at VWAP. And I keep seeing a seller hit the tape. It looks a little bit hidden. We'll see if this breaks VWAP. There we go. We're through here on Ugro.
Let's see if Ugro can go.
AHMA is halted to the upside. So this blasted off into an upside halt there, 706.
AHMA. Oh, yeah. You know, what are the other travel names doing? So travelers companies, TRV, that's up 1.3%. We already looked at the airlines. Jets, the ETF, that's up 3.6%.
That's actually a decent one to take a look at.
Bookings, BKNG, that's up 1.8. Just trying to see if there, I guess it's going to be limited to the region.
Nasty pull there on Ugro. This is what I was waiting for here with that seller that was walking the price down. Yanked right back through that VWAP, and this is basically right at that pre-market area where it's basically right down here, 350. Still going to be a spot there, 350. It's going to need to hold on to that. Big Hurt, you're truly done now. Okay. Just had to get that one last trade in there. There goes 350 on Ugro. 309 is their 65 EMA on the 5.
Yeah, and it looks like 320 could be a support area as well for Ugro.
Okay.
All right, so now we're getting a little bit of that rejection that we were looking for here in GMEX. That went up near the VWAP, pulled back. Nice volume, but I don't think it's enough to push through the VWAP. This may go a little bit more sideways before it could potentially fall lower. If this loses the 115 area, I think it's going to spell some trouble for the stock.
Amazon, that actually looked like that might try and go through 212 there. Remember, we talked about the successfulness so far of Project Hail Mary. Amazon stock price also moving with the post that we got initially here. Interestingly enough, I was actually just looking at COP. So for those of you that are playing some of the oil names, this COP is actually trying to bounce here. This is notable because it looks different than the oil chart itself. So oil's holding fairly steady here. The oil futures, that is, just shy of 91 here, 90.67. And COP at least looks better. Let's see what CVX looks like.
AIOF.
Same
I'm
deal.
sorry, AIFF. This having a really good morning here.
Okay.
Coming up to the consolidation from Friday. The Friday high was 230. We're trading, this traded up to 224. Now backing off a bit here.
Interesting. Tennessee is voting today on making weed legal. Are any of the cannabis names? What other states have that vote going? Yeah, none of these cannabis names are. In fact, these, if anything, are moving to the downside.
There's really only like a couple of pieces of news I want to see on that I think it's going to get the cannabis trade going.
So you're not, you don't even care about the individual state stuff anymore, right? You're waiting for federal and banking. Got it.
Yeah, that has to be the big thing. Sure. I think that, that's really what it has to be for me, in my opinion. Netflix having a good morning, trying to come back up to some of the pre-market highs of 93.50.
Does it look like the Amazon chart? Intraday, yeah, looks very similar to the Amazon intraday chart here on Netflix. Still sub 100, by the way.
And GMEX resolving lower now. We lost that 115 and lower we went. Coming down, we might even get support around $1, but I think this party might be over if we lose that 65 EMA.
Ugro still beneath its VWAP as well. That actually looking like it might take out that pre-market area. Planet Labs, this got mentioned earlier. This down 3.22%. This also at the pre-market lows here.
Yeah,
nothing fresh there on Planet Labs.
Let me look at the watch list here. I thought I saw some of the. So what is it? Just why? Nope, that one's down too. It looks like there's just a lot of red in the space names this morning, which is fine. I mean, they had a pretty good week last week, I thought.
Empyrean, I live in Tennessee, and I didn't even know that. Well, there you go. There you go. And there is AIFF. Yep. Good stuff there on that one. So this looked like it was just sideways there in the pre-market, but bang.
Yeah. Now it's still trying to make its way through a lot of consolidation. We get a larger time frame here and see where we're at with this. But that was a really nice move up there. Looks to me like the 340s are going to be a bit tough. I'm sorry, 240s. The 240s for AIFF are going to be a bit tough. There's some former support turned resistance back from August and from January last year as well. So, yeah, 240s may be tough for this one.
Okay. Market is trying to bounce here. We're still below the 9 EMA, though. So we've crossed the VWAP, still below the 9 EMA.
Yeah, thanks, Wiss. Excellent. AHMA open, printing higher, 798 now the high. Palantir Pop says Billy. Spy Pop says Marionette. Looks like we're getting a little bit of upside here with Ugro. I would say 380 is going to be the area we need to get back above. And if we do close a 5-minute or candle or two above 380, I think that turns it into support. We'll see. Looking
Here's
pretty
the
good here.
We just broke through the VWAP there. So that VWAP test leading to a higher resolution 4 next for me here, 13.
Excellent.
On Ugro. That was actually a really good pop. Good stuff if you were in that one. I'm not in this. No trades on this one. But nice little pop there. See if it can hold above 369, which is going to be your VWAP.
Big hurt. Virginia goes 100% legal with cannabis on January 1st, but they're trying to make firearm ownership 100% illegal. Something about the legislation there that was that regarding firearm ownership was really troubling. I haven't read too much into it, but I thought Virginia was the state that's doing that. Help me out here with this if you can. Set me straight, please.
Really quickly here, for those that are interested in this, seeing a massive trade here in LITE. These are January monthly contract that expires in 2027. These are the 800 puts, 200 of them for a premium paid of 5.67 million. So I don't know if this is a closing trade from the recent double top that was up near that 800, or if this is a new trade here. But big time trade there. LITE puts, 800 puts expiring January 2027. Bless you.
Oh, that was a cough, but thank you.
What are you supposed to say for a cough?
Thank you.
Bless you.
Anna, we looked at this one earlier. We lost that. I think we lost that trend line. So there could be some further downside in this one. And if it tries to recapture the trend line, be wary of a rejection if it tries to get back above it.
Is this the AHMA one that you were looking at?
No, Anna.
Anna, sorry, excuse me, Anna. My bad.
Yeah, so if you still have your trend lines, we should be able to see those. I don't think you've got it on.
No, I have. So this is where I drew that other one, 13.
Okay.
This is where I drew that steep upside one. I literally drew it on the day trading platform there, or a preset, excuse me. Remind me again where you had that other one?
It was the high from the pre-market the after hours on Thursday and the high from the pre-market on Friday.
Right. So that's right in here.
Yeah.
And it was like this. Yep. Yeah. And we tested it. Okay. So now I at least got them both on here. Let me reset this. Okay, great.
So for me, yeah. So what I'm looking for next with this is I would expect the price to try to recapture this trend line and it's probably going to fail that recapture. And when it does, then it's going to put in some new lows. That's what I'm expecting here with Anna.
Okay, so this is a possible short setup on a retest of the trend line there. I've got that at 573-ish.
It could be. That's just what my expectation is if now that we've lost that trend line. So we'll see if it happens.
You grow 4 test up right now.
Fantastic.
So I'll tell you what, that little shakeout move was the buyable one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in fact, anyone trading UGRO here, registering on that, that was pretty good.
It's funny that folks were mentioning how this sounds like a cannabis fertilizer company.
It does.
It's funny because the resistance area is at 420. So
of course it is.
Of course it is. It is curling up. This the momentum is looking like it's trying to swing more to the upside. So we might even get some higher prints than the pre-market here. So we'll see as we approach 420.
Okay, SPY trying to break that 9 EMA. This is trying to go higher here, and UGRO is above 4. So we'll see if we can hold it there. It's like it is scripted. I mean, look, when it comes to these pot names, y'all never know what's going to end up happening there.
There was a fantastic move there that took us up to what is this price? 427. So right through 420, but we have no close above it yet.
And I've got 434 as that pre-market high. That's going to be your last resistance area. SPY here continuing to try and bounce.
We got some seller in here trying to bogart this upside. I thought it was a good anyway.
Look, anytime someone invokes Humphrey Bogart's name, I'm happy about it.
Soon, this one from last week, SUNE, having a good morning, dropped down to the 200 EMA and is rocketed off to 261.
Yeah. Okay. Palantir continuing to trade higher here. Apple at the highs. Bitcoin actually trying to make a run towards 72K, and the VIX back down here at 24. So this SPY pop here, I think what I would like to see to trust this move a little bit more, and I don't know if we get that, maybe a move through 660, 661. Currently at 658 right now, so we'll see if we end up getting that.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking at some of these names from last week because we're still seeing some movement here. And
give me one. I got to get up for a sec. Give me one to put on screen.
SER.
SER. All right. BRB 13.
Serena Therapeutics. This one, it's had a high, a new high every day for the past 3 days, including this one. So there's a bit of a trend line there. Can't really see it with this chart there, but SER is one that's seeing some nice movement here today, up over 24%. Watching BIAF, this just had a pop. It's only up 8.8%, but if we get some more volume, we might see some higher prints. Looking down the list here at some of these other ones. I mean, it's just look around and see what you can find kind of day. It seems like. Looks like Bitcoin is recovering nicely now, over 71,000. AIRS, AIRS, up 8%. Let me see what this is about. This one's not too bad of a morning. Been whipping around here. It initially dropped down to 257, and now it's back up near 287. Large seller in the way at 3. What else is looking good here? IBRX, another one that's moving up here. Another biotech. This. Another one that had a drop right out of the gate here and then rallied, went down to 846, now trading up around 9. And it looks like AHMA is halted to the downside now, just above VWAP. AIFF, we also had this one come back in beneath VWAP. Now it's trying to recapture that. UGRO still holding for now above 4. Trying to get back above that 420 and stay above there. Looks like there's a bit of a seller trying to lock that down. We'll see what happens here in the next 5-10 minutes with UGRO.
Can we take a look at SMX for Patrick? Can you take a look at SMX testing VWAP? Can it run again? So the one thing I will say from learning about SMX is that yes, it can absolutely run. The stock loves to make big pops like this. Now, can it have a multi-day run? I think the catalyst is probably going to need to be pretty good. What did we have here on SMX? Report. This was from Saturday, so from over the weekend here. Security Matters deploys molecular marking technology to deliver fast, real-time authentication and traceability across global oil and gas supply networks. So without reading more in depth on this one, I would say that, yes, this is probably a catalyst that can cause multi-day movement in SMX. I'm not ready to say, yeah, sure, this can run again tomorrow. But given the catalyst here, I think this could absolutely kind of be a multi-day thing. Let me see what we look like on the 15-minute chart here.
Take care, Big Hurt.
Take care of yourself, Big Hurt. So this actually looks like it's trying to put in a bottom. Am I crazy for saying that? This looks like this is trying to put in a bottom and kind of come off of that. And judging where this thing came from, we could see some more on that. Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a position here on this. I can't tell you where it's going to go tomorrow. I wouldn't chase this thing as the, I mean, if you're going to trade this thing here, I would be very careful about the support levels here. This is not one that I would chase saying, yeah, this news is going to be great. And for sure, we're going to keep trading up tomorrow and the day after. I don't think so.
That's great. That's a great mention there, Jay. Soup Brick mentioning that BIAF is higher. And if we're going to follow this whole thing with trend lines, there's a couple of areas that I think we could see this go to. I think you're going to see resistance maybe somewhere between 320 and 325. But if it does get through that, I could see this going up to the 340s before we run into some heavier resistance. That's BIAF. That's just what it looks like right now.
Okay.
You
right by the way, stopped at that 434, so it really had trouble getting above the pre-market high. Now it's pulling back. Watch for a settlement at VWAP 378. Sorry, 13?
Nathan was mentioning that Wolf is wolfing right now.
That's the U one, right? WULF?
Yeah. She howling.
Oh, you ever play, Jay, have you ever played, or Wiss, have you ever played the Wolf golf game? And if so, do your group members make you howl if you decide to go as the wolf? Mine do. You don't get bonus points unless you're literally on the golf course howling like a wolf. I'm wondering if we're the only group of guys that do that.
Keep an eye on AIFF. It's trying to recapture VWAP right now. AHMA is rebounded, is halted now to the upside. Looks like there's new high, 297, sorry.
It's okay. And after all of the pre-market moving around here, we're basically just kind of chilling flat here on the SPY. So I have been watching the 0-day DTEs here. And yeah, there's some trade in there. I don't feel like I have an edge. I didn't take any of them today. And thank gosh, because I probably would have been shaken from this. It looks like SPY is going to try and push right now. But we've already seen this story once today. Howling is mandatory. That makes it better. Okay, great. So at least now I can go into that game next time knowing that I'm not the only person that's done this before. So I'm not out there embarrassing. That's good to know. Jay, I really appreciate that. Ugro coming back into its VWAP here, only about 8 cents away from the VWAP. We'll see if it holds there at 379. The snake is better. Is that an Arizona thing? Because you guys got rattlers out there? Tell you what, the one golf course in Arizona that I played, I saw a rattlesnake on the tee box. I wonder if that's like a regular thing. Get in there, 13. Sorry.
Soon, S-U-N-E. Just taking a look at it here. The price action from Friday is kind of interesting. It may give us some trend lines as targets. If you look at the two highs that we made toward the end of the day on Friday, that gives us a bit of a trend line that if this works, we're going to see prices up at 310, 315. You see the highs that we made on Friday?
Right here?
Those two highs. Draw a trend line from those.
You got it.
And we'll see if we end up. Oh, wow. Look at you go now.
It's still got to clear out that 434. So it did pull back to that VWAP, as we were saying. Did pull back to the VWAP there, but it's going to have to clear that 434. There's your target on soon.
Yeah. So no guarantee we get up there with soon, but that's something to watch for if we continue with this upside here. I think that's going to provide maybe resistance at first, but we'll see if it can get through that. It would just be a great take profit area.
And here's the U-Grow move. So again, this came back into the VWAP and held there. This is the second time this is given a trade around the VWAP now. And we're only, 21 minutes into the market here, into the actual open. I think you guys got the right idea not doing oil futures. I made some cash, but basically lost everything from the market hanging on Trump's every word. So that's another thing. Like, first of all, if you're going to trade those, and we had a guy from our Benzinga Pro chat that was outlining how to trade some of these really short-term instruments, and he said the same thing. You basically have to be ready. Like, your entire trade can be deleted by a tweet or a post or whatever you want to call it. So if you're going to do that, I just feel like that's one of the things that you really have to be present for. You're going to have to be nimble, or you could be looking at exactly what you're describing, Daniel. And I think that's one of the reasons why I opt not to do that. I do like the idea of trading some of the oil companies on a more longer term basis. But man, these futures, these pops back and forth, even if it's not oil, even if it's just SPY or S&P futures, you better be ready.
Yeah, I think the comment of the day for me was, oil, about how oil is going to be volatile, and we're getting that. And I think it's going to be like that. It could be like that for probably the entire week. And you have, Trump throwing out catalysts left and right every time he comes on. So, I think when it comes to oil and maybe a lot of these other names, it's probably going to be one of these weeks where we just trade this, but maybe not go along with some of these positions just yet. I think it's important to have our shopping list ready, because I think there's going to be a time where we're going to see some bottoming, but I'm not convinced that we're there yet.
Okay. Yeah. I see Trump is speaking with reporters here. Kathy, I'm trying to keep the mood calm this morning, so I opted not to mention that. Let me know if anything comes out of that. SPY is trying to push up here, but again, just kind of looking at where we are at, I would actually really like to see 660 get. So we're about at 660. 660, 661 feels like it's going to be that spot that we really need to get over. Oh, let me take care of something here for work.
I'm seeing a lot of polling right now in various names. A lot of the ones we just talked about. Looks like GMEX might be trying to find some support. I don't know that this is done going south, but we have been trading sideways since we came down to $1, so or close to $1. So we'll see if it can hold above it. BIAF got as high as 327. Still looking for a little bit higher, looking for the 340s, but it might need to test the VWAP first. Not liking the upper shadows it's starting to put in. Doesn't look like U-Grow's finished either. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I wasn't. I'm sorry. I was answering something here. I didn't have anything lined up here.
AHMA open. Thank you, Supric. It's trading above its VWAP right now, trying to break over 725.
And U-Grow is still holding 4, but still beneath 434. I wanted to get to this here real quick. Where did I just lost that comment? Damn it.
What was it regarding?
The whole oil move here. Excuse me, oil. The whole move here on some of the metals. Jay, silver, these parabolic moves usually don't last for any, and you're citing old oil.
Oil? I love it.
Get it together, Ryan. This is crazy. Oil, gold, silver, etc. So what do you make? We were asking earlier, what do you make of the fact that this recent pullback really kind of left nowhere to hide? Like S&P markets pulling back, gold and silver also pulling back. Really, oil was the one thing that wasn't pulling back. Are you saying that, because it made such a meteoric move, that's one of the reasons we're still seeing that parabolic move kind of unwind? Because to me, it seems like it's just a little bit harder to trade if it's moving in the same direction as the market, right? It's not like inversely correlated. So are you thinking that what we're seeing here in silver and gold is just a normalization of the parabolic move, or is there something else under it maybe driving that?
And I guess I would want to also add as part of the question, if we do get some stabilization in those metals, do you see the prices coming back up to those parabolic levels more slowly over time? That's what I'm interested in. Ryan, I was keeping an eye on the TQQQ this morning because
Okay.
it had a really big move that took it up to 46.57, and we've been kind of consolidating above the VWAP here, and it looks like we're still trying to trade higher and get back into the $46 handle. So don't know what you've see that looks like we're trying to get back up into the $46 handle to me, but we could get rejected there too. I just need to see more volume, but it looks like we're trying to push higher here.
I don't know how much this means today, given why this thing is moving, but holy Lord, here was the fair value gap. So the first move that we made here on the TQQ, we basically pulled right back into the fair value gap, held the top quadrant, and found support at the VWAP, and have continued to move higher here. I'm not trading this one. 13, to your point, we'll see if this gets extended from the VWAP or SQQQ/TQQQ. Give us a day trade setup here. But kind of a wild fair value gap here, no longer unmitigated.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it.
Yeah, here, when silver was 100, everyone was saying 200. Same for oil last week. Okay, so it seems then to me that right now the overwhelming driver here of some of these is going to be the I guess the conflict that's going on and the comments that come out around that more than anything else, right? Like more than its correlation with the market. It's kind of trading on its own thing right now. And I think until that breaks, you're pretty much subject to that.
Yeah, Wes, I was just looking at GMEX. This thing popped up trying to get back over 115. If it succeeds in doing that, then I think the next thing it's going to try to do is recapture VWAP. Still looks like it needs a lot more volume than it's getting in order to recapture some of these levels. So if it gets rejected here at 115, I think it's coming down underneath the 65 EMA. Air's new high 305.
TQQQ actually looking like this might try and push higher here. Interestingly enough, my fair value gap study gave a buy indicator there. I'm going to not trust that one, though. I think that might be a false positive. We'll see if I'm right about that. I think that might be a false positive.
Kendall, you're trading VG. There's, one thing that really kind of sticks out like a sore thumb is the $16 level. I don't know what trouble this stock was having with 16 on Friday, but it was not it was not being allowed to print any higher than that. I don't even think it even got to 16 unless it was in the after hours. Gosh, it really didn't. But that looks like a big resistance area for VG. So here we are testing it right now. Need some good volume to get through and hold above 16. Marionette, you must be having a nice morning if you're trading the TQQQ.
Yeah, so that indicator, that fair value indicator, that thing cannot figure out what it's doing. It keeps flashing. See, I don't trust that for the own trading here. Okay, I'm going to try and do this as quickly and as even keeled as possible. Kathy was mentioning that Trump is speaking to a pool of reporters here. I guess he's touching on a couple of things here. He is saying that someone from Iran called, that he didn't call. Take that with a grain of salt. He also, I guess, made a comment on Elon Musk's tweet from earlier regarding paying the TSA workers. He said, quote, "Let him do that," end quote. I don't know if that's feasible here, but those so far have been some of the comments that have come out of that conference he's giving with the pool of reporters. I'll go through some of the other comments here and see if there's anything notable. But 13, keep going.
Yeah, Air's printing some new highs now. 319 is a new high. We have, okay, I'm going to look at ELPW WIS. What's that? That is about Elon Power.
And regarding, so this is kind of really quickly regarding the conversation back and forth. Trump had said Iran has no telecommunications, so I would imagine they have a lack of communication. LOL. I don't consider Khamenei's son the leader. And so that's probably where you're getting some of that. Remember, we had the tweet there that Iranian state media said that they did not talk to him. Trump said they did talk to him. seems like there might be another party kind of going on with these discussions there. All of that unconfirmed. Just what's being said out there. All right, going back to the main workspace here.
Yeah, looks like things are just kind of gearing up for the next move. Still waiting to see if GMAX is going to be able to recapture 15. It's there right now.
Now, interesting. Fairchild said he mentioned we ordered a number of B2s as well. So I'm seeing Northrop Grumman kind of turning around here. Let me take a look at some of those defense stocks. That's got me wondering how they're going to do here today. Lockheed Martin turned around, RTX. So it looks like all of those have really kind of dipped and then turned around here today across the board from those three. How's Boeing doing also, by the way? Boeing actually one of the Boeing possible 200 break here. Well, that kind of okay. This is because this would basically just be reclaiming it from Friday's loss of it. Okay, well maybe there's not too much to take from that just yet.
Yeah, Airs with a big pull after hitting 319. I had a bad day of or morning of trading. But I'm just kind of sitting on my hands right now.
Yeah, so am I. Now, looking at SPY here, so I'm still on the same thing that I was on earlier here for a trade. Probably needs to get above here. Let me get it right on the screen here. Probably needs to get above the 660 to 661 area. Maybe we could extend that to 662. It's trying here, but I'm not sure I trust this yet. Volume is continuing to come in a little bit as we would expect, but still looking all right.
Looks like AHMA is trying to push for new session highs. Might halt here.
AHMA, I had. Oh,
Nope,
I had that as resumed. My apologies. I'll go to Fastly here next, guys. Here's AHMA.
Now it might halt here. It just had a move where it was starting to go into a halt. It changed positions. Now it looks like we're going into a halt here. Nope, still moving. But we did get pretty close to that session high.
Sure looks like 8 is going to come into play here on this. Yeah, Jay, as far as the energy independent thing, and in 13, kudos to you because you've covered this quite a bit. It really seems like producing and extracting is not the problem, rather refining is the problem. And I don't think that's changed with anything that's gone on.
Well, maybe if you're, since oil fields are being struck, that you could look at some of the extraction names, but I think really what it comes down to is usable fuel not having nearly the amount of refineries that we had a year ago. It's not just the situation over in the Middle East; it's stateside too. We've been shutting down refineries over on the western coast, so a lot less refining capacity. And then also you have loss of refinement capabilities in Russia, not just with sanctions, but with attacks on their infrastructure as well. So yeah, a lot less refining capability in the world now. Compared to a year ago.
Okay. AHMA ran into some resistance there at 8. That is definitely one being carved out here. And just as I suspected here, the 661 to 662 area providing some resistance here from the SPY. I really don't think we can get too excited out on that until that area is cleared out. Then and only then maybe can we make a move back towards 666. As Jay and others have been saying, if you're going to trade either of these, just watch them together. Watch SPY and USO together. Alpha Trade saying USO short here. Alpha Trade, am I getting this right? It looks like basically a break of this pre-market low area is the entry for a potential short. In other words, if we break this 110 area, you think we might go lower here on USO? Let me know if I got that right. I don't want to put the wrong words in your mouth. Sorry, 13.
To me, that setup right now that you have on the screen, that looks like it's going to go lower.
That's kind of what I'm trying to confirm here. I just want to make sure I get Alpha Trade's thesis correct. This to me also looks like this might break and go lower. Kathy mentioning that you is having a good day. I might have to be a customer, but depending on what the airports look like when I get there, above 50 again. By the way, folks, I know we've been talking about you quite a bit here. I did kind of put the feelers out to see if I can bring anyone from you on the show here, but nothing yet on that. I'll keep you posted if we get anything on that. I've got no indication that we're going to be getting that pretty soon. But I will keep trying for you. Alpha Trade, yes. Okay, great. All
USO right. Support, I'm looking at 100 to 103. Somewhere in there, I think you get your support with the continuation of this selling that we're seeing here in the stock and with oil. So that's where I see the support here for USO. Don't know if we'll see that today, but that's where I'm looking at support.
Eric, this is a good question. Thoughts on PDYN for a longer term play? So this is a good one because we've talked about Paladin AI for more than a day trade when this has come up before. I have no position on this. I don't own any of this, but when you guys were bringing this up before, I was kind of thinking about this. Here's my thing. What kind of long-term plans do you think that this? In other words, what's the bull thesis here? If you like this for holding it long-term, what's going to be the catalyst that really brings this stock higher, Eric? Let me know what you think on that. I can't get myself to really kind of sit on this and hold this. I'd be curious to know what your bull thesis is on PDYN, and if it's too long for just one or two messages, that's fine too. But I'm just kind of curious what you think here. I heard their earnings call, and the Swarmer tech is good software for the drone moves.
Is Paladin exclusively a drone name, or
well, it's autonomy and robotic system solutions? Okay. So I mean, it might be for more than just some of the drones, but the AI and the machine learning capabilities of this company is what has it kind of in play with all of this.
I mean, I more and more I keep finding myself in my own internal arguments thinking that at some point it's not going to be boots on the ground, it's going to be bots on the ground. And companies like this make me think that we could be moving towards that reality much quicker than we're thinking. But we're still a ways away from seeing robotics get to that point. But it's just something that it keeps eating at me. Like we're going to probably see battlefield robotics much sooner than we think.
And we've kind of been expecting that for a while now too. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't be shocking if that ends up playing out. Eric went on to say Dpro has a deal and Arcat has a deal with them also. I think that they can scale without CapEx through the software and platform integrations. So here's what I would say about that. This would actually make for a pretty good play if they could do that. I think you're gonna have to see some of those numbers bleed through, though, aren't you? Like you're going to actually have to see some of that appear on the bottom line. I like that, though. I mean, I think that if this is able to kind of proliferate without huge CapEx spending, this might be good in this environment. I don't have a position on this, though.
Looks like Firefly's trying to break out. AIFF needs more volume, but it looks like it's setting up to do that.
This is actually pretty good for formation. If the volume increases there, look out. That thing could definitely go higher. Jay here mentioning GEV all-time highs, and I have none. Wow. That's rare, Jay. It's rare that I have something that's making all-time highs that you do not. 13, a shout out to you because you're the whole reason that I'm in this thing and took the approach that I did. I don't have enough. I don't have a whole lot of this, but nice to see this. My target's 1,000.
Yeah, that's crazy. I had a much longer time horizon for this, so the fact that we're getting these prints now is fantastic. But I think for me, 1,000's also going to be my target as well, and I've already trimmed a little bit on the way up here too. This has been a great event. It was a great theme, and I think it's going to continue throughout the year. The theme, not the stock, the theme.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
All right, here we are, AIFF trying to get back up to 233.
Anyone think Hood is a potential upside move here? Still doing its best to kind of hold this 70 area?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
I don't think so yet. I think we talked about this one and where it could go. Let me see if I can pull up what my target is for this because I think it's still lower from here.
Okay. Reginald says XOM is back in the green. So we took a look at all of these. XOM, CVX, COP, all of these look the same. Reginald, looks like you're thinking XOM has a pullback coming here. So that would mean that would probably also mean that the SPY would pull back. Did anyone see all those glitches on Webull on Friday's closing? What did that have to do with the witching that was going on? I say Hood, yes. If Bitcoin goes through 71,800, okay, GP, I could see you on that. I really think that Hood kind of moved down with the larger pullback that we saw in Bitcoin, so that tracks here. Marionette says he likes Coinbase a little bit more. Coinbase actually a nice move through 200 here, Marionette. That's not a bad mention. Coinbase really needs to get above 210, doesn't it? And Eric, I like Hood, but I agree there might be some more downside. That's kind of what I'm wondering. Does the 70 area hold here on Hood, or do we get more of that downside? All right. Again, SPY still can't get above that 661 to 662. Our ticks are in the green. I'm still having trouble trusting the move higher right now, though.
I was just trying to see if I could locate some of my targets if I had mentioned it in happy hour chat. I think what I was looking for was somewhere closer to 40, but I don't know if we're going to end up getting down there. But it's not an impossibility in my view. It just might take a little while. And I think what needs to happen right now with Hood, we need to get a recapture and hold above 74, 75, because if we can't do that, then I think we go underneath 67 and make our way down into this consolidation from the beginning of last year. That's my thought on Hood. So I think we go lower still.
In for the nuts. Is there a bottom on Bull?
I like that name.
It's a good handle. It's a good handle. Bull here, 522. This is, I'll tell you what, the bottom that this thing is carving out right now is in fact $5. This thing, I understand why you're asking, like, where's the bottom? This is, I know we've talked about this as a possible sympathy play to Hood and all of that. Dude, I can't tell you. I've been asked a number of times here on Bull. I would have thought this thing bounced already. I can't tell you where the bottom is here. Certainly looks like the chart is saying 5, at least in the near term, but I don't know how much I trust that.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have our bottom established once we see trading back above the 50-day SMA. But until we start getting that, I don't know where this bottoms out at. It just, that's just the SMA I'd be keeping an eye on. Ever since we lost it back in October last year, we have not touched it. And we've been able to trade above the 20, but I've also lost that kind of right in the 20 down. It would be great to see the price back above the 20, but I think to convince me that we've truly bottomed, we need to start trading back above the 50-day SMA level.
Yeah, and Zach, you're saying Bull's supposed to have a good year as it has some catalysts, and indeed, it's got a following too. I know there are a lot of people that like the stock. There are several people out there that like the broker. Totally get it.
You do look like you have some little bottoming happening on that chart there.
That's what I'm saying. It looks in the near term here, at least, as if it's trying to hold 5.
Yeah. But I can't say where the bottom is right now. I don't know if we're seeing one. We might be, but I think we need a little bit more time. Airs, this thing is just wild today. This thing went up to 319, dropped down to 275, and now it's back up here at 319 again.
Whiplash for you right there.
Yeah, even my neck's feeling it. Looks like ELPW is trying. This thing is trading super thin, it seems, but it's still trying to push up to 315. Be careful with that one if you're trading it. What else looks good here? I mean, lots of stuff is really slowed down.
I think everyone's kind of waiting on SPY, given some of what we've seen here this morning.
Looks like you have another 46 test coming in the TQQQ. Looking at PLAB, this is Debt AI.
PLAB. Lab having a good day here today. Did we have news on this?
This could be momentum from Friday.
Yeah, Lake Street initiated coverage, price target of 46. So you're right on that continuation. Do you like it? Debt AI, do you like that up to the target price there? Do you like that above 46? Do you have any other targets? GEV 920 now, that continuing.
My God.
And the SPY still trying to get, okay, 660 and a half. Still looking at 661, 662 there on the SPY.
PLAB, I mean, it's a pretty decent looking company. What is this? Photo masks, huh?
Yeah, sorry, Wiss. You had asked me this earlier. I got sidetracked. I'm sorry, my man. VLAN is one that Wiss wanted to take a look at. So this is down big on news. Boy, what happened here? This thing, big time haircut. Okay. Pfizer reports top-line results from its phase 3 Valor clinical trial of its investigational 6-valent OSPA-based Lyme disease vaccine candidate. And that's what this Valin is, right? Valinava. Trial shows more than 70% efficacy in preventing Lyme disease in individuals aged 5. Okay, so Pfizer. Lyme disease vaccine candidate demonstrates. So this is a combination with Valneva and Pfizer, and we're getting good efficacy data, and the stock's getting blasted. Let me make sure I'm getting that right there.
Data AI, this PLAB is it reads pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to look more into this. I think I've seen this before, but I just didn't really look into it that much. But it's pretty interesting. Thank you. TQQQ trying to still push up into 46, getting pretty close. Large seller in the way that price.
Yeah. So, Wiss, are you wanting to take a look at this because you think this bounces? I mean, I don't know about this particular study or this drug line here, but it seems like based on the news that this is actually good data from this. Maybe they expected more. Anyway, this stock's getting shelled here today. I think you're asking about this for a potential bounce. I don't think I know enough about this, though, to be honest.
I would say when it comes to this, because this is like off of phase 3 results, right? I would think maybe the next big...
Yeah, phase 3, and then maybe they don't have money? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I think what you're going to want to watch for with this is partnerships with any other companies that have the capability of manufacturing drugs. I don't know what the capability of this company is, but I think the next thing that comes after this phase 3, aside from FDA approval, is going to be partnerships. That's what I would expect.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like we tapped. Not quite. It got 8 cents away, but pretty close. And I'm just watching the TQQQ. It looks like we're trying to get up to and over 46, but just kind of lacking the volume right now.
Wiss, do me a favor. If you do look more into this, let me know what you find and club me over the head if I'm not bringing it up here. I'll see if I can get anything here from an AI tool. I don't know much about this though, my man. But this is interesting. I see why you're asking about this. The Veggie Girl, good morning. It's great to see you again. Trump said we're going to put up insurance for the tankers going through the Strait, which means no more Lloyd's of London. What insurance company? So you're looking for a possible insurance company that might see a price appreciation based on the news here this morning? I don't know the answer to that. But do you know, 13, what insurance company might take over for Lloyd's of London?
No.
No, I don't know off the top of my head. There was a long shot there. That's a good question, Veggie Girl. Let me know what you have. I don't have anything for you here this morning.
Let me see if I can find anything.
Oh, you're going to do live research? Look at the quick fingers of 13. Smash up the like for the quick fingers of 13.
I think we mentioned Chubb before a while back, but that could be one. I don't know that that's the one. There might be a series of them, but Chubb could be it. Chubb could be one of them. CB, I think, is the ticker.
Okay.
Let me see here. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
interest, that's actually up today, 13. I don't know if it's on this
Look
whole
at
thing.
the news from Friday.
Yeah. Collaborating with this is from Friday, collaborating with the U.S. government to form maritime insurance site to offer war marine risk insurance. Okay, so 13, really good find under pressure there. Kathy, this makes sense. Kathy's saying, I'm not sure I'd want to own the stock, whatever insurance company is going to take that risk on. This is the classic risk to reward, right?
Oh, yes. I was just going to say,
because you got a whole bunch of potential downsides to this, but man, if this becomes the primary insurer and that thing reopens and there's more traffic, I think this probably goes higher on that. This is a good find, 13. Really good job.
Now, I did, so earlier this month on the 3rd, I did post a list of names that that could potentially do well because of marine and specialty insurance. CB was one of them. I'm going to give you guys the other ones that I was looking at as well. And I can maybe explain some of them too if you have questions.
Really quick, while you're putting those in the chat, I see them coming through the chat now.
Sorry, I was trying to do it all in one post.
It's okay. It's totally fine. If they're separated like that, that's fine. Here's SPY. So look, we're trying to get above this 661, 662 right now. I think if we do that, that probably puts 665, 666 in play.
TQQQ trying to break through 46 right now. But yeah, so you got CB, which is Chubb. We already talked about that one. AIG, American International Group. That's another big insurer. Travelers Insurance, not just for travelers. W.R. Berkley Corporation is another name that came up. But then also, of course, Berkshire Hathaway, because they actually own a number of insurance companies, including some of CB. AMPX, can we see 20? I think we will eventually, maybe even higher. I think my target was like, yeah, he does. Yeah, he owns. I don't know if he completely owns CB, Gary, but I know that he's been, adding more and more. The last time I saw that he was picking more up was a couple, Mays ago in 2024. I don't know how much he's added since then, but yes, he does own CB.
SPY through 662, only by a smidgen here, but it looks like it's trying to go higher. Betcha Girl says, thanks, 13. I knew you would be the guy. My boy's wicked smart. My boy's wicked smart. I got to get that on the soundboard, the Goodwill Hunting drop. That would be a good one.
All right, let's see what else we can find here. Nice.
Goldman Sachs trying to go higher. Tesla drifting higher. Netflix, that might re-challenge the highs for whoever was trading Netflix earlier. Bitcoin is above 71,000. VIX broke below 24. That chart looks like it wants to. Oh, and just to complicate this, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here. We got a new 5-day ultimatum from Trump. So whether you think it's taco or whatever is unimportant. Just know that the new 5-day ultimatum, the deadline is the close of the stock market on Friday.
Right. I was thinking 5 days. Gosh, it sounds like the end of the week where the market's closed and all kinds of things could happen on the weekend, kind of like how we just had this past weekend.
Folks, be nimble. That's the best advice I can give you right now. Be nimble. SPY continuing to march higher after that breakthrough 662. Got to think 665 is going to be on deck.
Yeah.
Wiss, don't even. I'm going to Detroit. The week that the Masters tournament starts. I am so ready for it, my man. I am so ready for it. Oh, Fastly. Sorry. Mark, you had asked for that earlier. I went to it briefly and I moved away from it because I got sidetracked. I'm sorry about that. Here's Fastly. This has been, by the way, another amazing stock here recently. Since this thing reported earnings and really kind of turned around, look at the move that this thing made. And now we've got some more new highs here. What kind of targets do we have on Fastly?
Well,
35? Does that seem reasonable? Sorry, 13.
I would say just, keep in mind that there are a lot of insiders selling out of this thing as it continues climbing. Just keep that in mind. As far as where this goes, I would think if I'm using the highs from September of 2023 and the high from February of 2024, that bit of a trend kind of gives me a target of about 32.
Okay, 32 to 35. That sounds about right.
And
Mark, are you in this? Are you sorry, 13? I didn't mean to run you over there. Are you in this from this recent earnings pop that has just melted higher? Let me know what you're targeting there on your trade. 13, I'm sorry to run you over. Did you have something else you wanted to finish off with there?
Well, I was just looking more to the left after I identified that 32 target. It looks like 30 does have a bit of a resistance area, but if we manage to climb above that, then I think we're going to see our 32 print. That's what I would be expecting here with this one. 30, I think, is going to certainly be a bit of a troublemaker of a level, but if we do get through that 32, I should think she'll be on deck.
Dead AI says, guys, keep cash aside as you never know what's coming in today's world. And indeed, that's actually been something we've been on here for months now. 13, we've been talking about raising cash for some time here. I would agree with that. Keep some on hand because you never know. It's another reason why some of these, like, I don't necessarily want to just take them too early on. Have some of that cash laid aside. Sorry, 13.
I was selling into all the upside strength we've been having in Q1 this year. And maybe I think I did take a little bit of profit last year on some things, but yeah, all this upside we've been getting this year has been great to sell into. I'm waiting for the market to settle back down and find some support. I don't think that we've done that quite yet. But I think he's absolutely right. Make sure you guys got your shopping list ready and you have cash for said shopping list because there will be opportunities.
And check it out. So it looks like I know we kind of traded above 662, but still, it looks like we're still kind of flirting with this as a resistance area. We've pulled back a little. I don't want to say we're out of the woods yet. Oil here is actually below support 2 on Person's pivots. It is still 5 points off the impulse low made from when the post broke earlier.
UGRO has double topped from the pre-market into the regular session. It's struggling to recapture the VWAP, and I don't know that this is necessarily done for the day. It might be, but if we get down to the 65 EMA and we can't hold above that, then I think that this is probably going to be all finished probably for the day. Maybe it comes back in the afternoon, but I think for the morning, it's going to be pretty much finished.
How about that 435 resistance that we talked about earlier? That was this is why we sell it. This right here, graphical representation of exactly why we sell it resistance. Went right there and stopped and has turned over here. SPY continuing to pull back in. We'll see if we get another support at the VWAP on SPY.
There, and we also got what we were looking for here with GMAX. This did try to get back up to VWAP, was rejected there. We're back down to the 65 EMA. Trying to find some support at this level. Get the sense that if we can't get back above some of these smaller EMAs pretty soon, we're going to lose 65 as well.
This one doesn't look great here. Wiz, take care of yourself.
Take care, Wiz.
Ryan 13, can you find any levels on TSEM? I'm looking for an exit plan.
Okay. Tower Semiconductor. Oh, wow. Geez. Look at this thing go. Another one that's in photonics.
Well, I tell you what. So you're definitely in profit, right? The new all-time highs here today. I might think trailing stop here. I don't know what your entry is here, what your time horizon was here, but this is another break to all-time highs. I'd be looking to start booking here, depending on the size of your position.
I mean, it's certainly new 52-week highs. I don't know about all time.
Oh, a new 52 weeks. Sorry.
Yeah, because this, I mean, if this is still the same stock as it was back in the .com era, this thing was much higher back then. Don't see any splits. So is it really that expensive back then? Was it really $600 at one point?
I actually don't have data going all the way back there. Supric, one other thing you might want to consider here, maybe we can ask Anne-Marie about this tomorrow. Maybe sell some upside calls against your position. Again, I don't know what you're really working with. I'm just trying to come up with ideas for you. You're going to have to do your own due diligence on that. But yeah. If you're looking to maybe take gains, then maybe selling a call above. If it keeps moving, then you get called away, collect your premium. You still have some exposure. Otherwise, if it comes back in a little bit, at least you collected some premium to kind of lower your break even there. Great volume supporting the breakout, indeed. And this has been in a sector that's done really well. All right, 13. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
It's okay. It just looks like when I'm looking at this chart, and it goes. And the last time we were even up at this area was back in like 2020. I'm sorry, 2001. So we're at like 25, 26 year highs right now, and it looks to me like back then from 95 to 2001, $200 was a big support and resistance area. So that's kind of what I'd be thinking is going to happen next. We could see maybe some higher prints, but I think 200 is going to be your resistance area in the near term. That's just what the chart is telling me. I don't know if that's the spot you want to exit or hold and have a breakout happen. But if you look at a longer term chart that goes back, 30, 40 years, if this is still the same company it was back then you have a big area coming up at 200.
Okay, 13, really good stuff here. We're out of time. I'm sorry for going a minute over. Any closing words for the group?
What a wonderful rebound of a day that we had here. It was pretty exciting to trade all this volatility, but just make sure that you're not getting stuck in anything. And if things aren't working out, make sure you get out so that you're not staying wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Just don't stay wrong in a day like today. We'll be back here tomorrow, find some more movers and make some more money and have a wonderful day like we did today. So until then, folks, take care, goodbye, and have a wonderful rest of your Monday.
All right, good stuff, 13. And as he said, it's only Monday. So a lot of excitement here early on, and it's only Monday. We've got an entire week of this coming up here. So have a great rest of your Monday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll catch you here tomorrow on Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook.